When it comes to choosing a school, parents who want the best education for their students look for academic excellence, skilled teachers, a safe school that encourages their values. Students want a school with competitive athletics, unique opportunities, and friendships that last a lifetime. Fairfield Christian Academy, the place where parents and students agree. Enrolling now at fairfieldchristianacademy.com.
Tuesday Night Hoops presented by Swoyer & Associates Insurance Agency and the Westfield Insurance Group. 2 tonight for you here at the Maxwell Leadership Center on the campus of Ohio Christian University as KCU, Kentucky Christian out of the Mideast region, out of Grayson, Kentucky, in town tonight to take on your Trailblazers. Hi, everybody. It is Rick Cooper, the voice of the Trailblazers. Great to have you with us here on the OCU Basketball Network. It gets underway tonight, 6 p.m. tip, number 1 and number 2. KCU number 1 in the latest NCCA Division II polls, and OCU right behind them at number 2 nationally. KCU 9-6 overall. They are 8-8, or OCU 8-8. So 2 real good ones tonight. KCU, of course, 6 straight national championships, a streak that was snapped a year ago when Maranatha came into this building and won the national championship. But 14 of them in the 22-year career of Ron Arnett. He'll be looking for his 15th national championship in 20 years during this 2014 season. National tournament this year being held out at Ozark Christian College in Joplin, Missouri. Both of these teams coming off some wins. The Trailblazers finished a 3-game stretch over the weekend by beating Kuiper College 105-48. Asia Woodson and Shekinah Alexander led OCU with 14 points. Senior Sarah Bechtel hit 4 of 5 threes for 13 points off the bench. And Olivia Davis snagged a game-high 12 rebounds to go along with her 12 points. That game was on Saturday. Again, big wins against Maranatha on Thursday, Northland International on Friday, and it's Kuiper College on Saturday. KCU was here over the weekend as well. 2 games. 2 convincing wins. They beat Maranatha on Friday in this building, and then they won on Saturday as well. They come in, as we said, 9-6, winners of 6 of their last 8, and they feature arguably the best player in this at this level of basketball. Talking about Tanya Bowens, approaching 2,000 points in her illustrious career. Last season, she was the first junior to ever be given the National Player of the Year award, and she likely in the next 4 or 5 games will become KCU's all-time leading scorer, breaking the record held by Tabitha Hannum Hall, who played at KCU from 1993 to 1997. She has an outside shot of becoming the all-time assist leader at KCU as well. Needs to average what she's doing right now, which is about a 7 a game over the last 18 games of the season. The problem is she's going to miss 4 or 5 due to some student teaching. So you remove them, she's got about 14 or 15 games left. She needs to average right at her 7 assists per game, and she will break Bethany McKee's record from in the late 90s. So should be a good one tonight. Tuesday Night Hoops presented by Swoyer & Associates Insurance Agency. Coming up on the HER Realtors Dan and Donna Daly pregame show. We'll give you tonight's starting lineups, but when we come back, we check in with Matt Futch after this 60-second timeout to get his thoughts on tonight's contest. You're listening and watching OCU basketball here on the Ohio Christian University Sports Network.
Ohio Christian University offers accredited, career-focused undergraduate and graduate degree programs for busy adults. Classes are convenient, offered online or evenings and weekends at our 12 locations. OCU will prepare you for your next step and help you discover your higher purpose.
We invite you to attend Ohio Christian University.
Nice. Yes, go! Yes! No! Come on! Oops. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy.
Works every time.
Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
Head coach Matt Fudge joins us here on the HER Realtors Dan and Donna Daily pregame show. And first of two tonight, a nationally ranked matchup between number 1 KCU and number 2 OCU. And the first-year head coach Matt Fudge taking time to chat with us. And coach, before we talk about KCU, let's talk a little bit about this past weekend. Convincing wins against Maranatha, Northland, and Kuiper. What was the good from the weekend from a coach's perspective, and what was the bad?
Well, we had a chance to get better over the weekend. Got some good game reps. Thing that I would like to have saw was a little bit of better competition over the weekend to kind of really test us to see where we're at. But I'm sure we'll get that tonight.
First official region game of the year. I know you played the Lady Knights up in November up at Moody, but it didn't count as an official Mideast region game. It was a 76-59 KCU win. It was your first look at the Lady Knights, or maybe I know they were here in November as well, but what were your thoughts on Ron Arnett's squad?
Thought it was a really good team, championship quality team. They had a really good point guard, and she's amazing. She's the motor to that team there. So we'll have our hands full tonight.
You're talking about Tanya Bowen's first ever National Player of the Year as a junior, approaching 2,000 points. You're an X's and O's guy. Look, when you watch her play, what makes her so special, so effective?
Her poise, her poise, and how she leads her team. It's and her confidence is pretty unique. And that kind of separates her from good to great.
It's a quiet confidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't see her talking a whole lot on the floor.
No, she just plays the game. See the game well, got a high IQ. Like I said, we'll have our hands full tonight with her.
You told me earlier in the year, you said, Rick, this isn't a rivalry yet. And I think you said because we haven't won very often. They've won 8 out of the last 9. And I think during those 9 games, they've won by an average of better than 15 points. Your roster, as you look at it, includes like 11 out of 12 players that are freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. How much confidence do they take into a game like this tonight, considering that this program hasn't had a lot of success against the Lady Knights?
That's something I was talking to our team the other day, is that it's more so a mental thing at this point. Once we get over that mental hurdle with this team, I think that we'll probably be pretty successful moving forward. But it's going to take one good time, and it's going to take us to be really dialed in and tuned into the game to really take it to them.
You talk about Tanya Bowen. She gets a lot of attention, rightfully so, but in several of the meetings in the past years, it's been Monica Stevens underneath that really has seemed to hurt this team, even a little bit of Sharonda Jones underneath. How much does their front line concern you, and how do you try to slow them down?
There's some very good players down there. Monica is very good. She really knows how to use her body and positioning and angles and finishes well. Sharonda, she's the same. She's very multi-dimensional, where she can post you, she can drive you from the wing. So they have a very talented group of girls.
Talking with head coach Matt Fudge here on the HER Realtors Dan and Donna Daily pregame show. And Coach, I know matchup's so important. Coach is always looking for an advantage. Where do you hope to have an advantage tonight?
I think, like I said, I think we have some of the best perimeter play. And if we can take advantage a little bit of that and kind of finish on the other end, I think we can be in the game. From the post standpoint, that I think that Maritza will have a pretty significant advantage at the high post against Monica, but we'll see how that plays out.
One other staple of this rivalry the last 3 or 4 years, KCU has seemed to get out to an early lead a lot of times. And I remember the John Carroll game, one of the last times we saw you there, granted an NCAA ranked team, but they got out, 11-0, 31-6, I think, late in that first half. How important is it? I mean, maybe it's a dumb question, but to get out of the gate quickly, and maybe as a head coach, how important is it for you to stop the bleeding if you sense things getting out of hand early?
It's always good to get out the gate and be ready to go and kind of capitalize a little bit early on. But one thing about our girls is that we're resilient, and we fought back in a lot of games. Here against Alice Lloyd, actually, we were down. So I'm confident that our girls will not quit playing, and that's something to say about a young team like ours.
Sure.
Any other keys you're stressing to the girls that we could keep an eye on tonight?
Details of the game, and then our goals. We have to hold opponents under 60 points for us to have a chance. We have to shoot a pretty good percentage, 40 plus from the field, 36 from three. Now we got to get to the free throw line as well, and then we got to keep teams from getting to the free throw line. We usually, the last game, I think we put the team into the bonus in the first half with 15 minutes to go, and to do that, we have to be much disciplined. So I'm always constantly stressing the fact that we have to be more disciplined.
The offensive free throws have been an issue the last 3 or 4 games. What do you attribute that to? I think I've asked you that before, but Asia's so aggressive getting to the rim, and some of these others, why aren't they getting more free throws?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, like I said, I think I'm always trying to take ownership on us, and I think we probably have to go to the basket a little bit more aggressively. So if that happens, we'll see if the stripes go to us.
I was going to say, maybe I should be asking the men in stripes that question. Coach, good luck tonight. Always enjoy talking to you. We'll talk to you after the game as well. That's the head coach of the Trailblazers, Matt Futch, here.
And we sure do appreciate Coach Futch joining us pregame. Let's introduce you to tonight's starting lineups here on the HER Realtors Dan and Donna Daily pregame show. First of all, for the visitors, the national champs 6 times from 2007 to 2012, talking about Ron Arnett and the KCU Lady Knights. The point guard is Tanya Bowens, 5'6" senior from Louisa, Kentucky, 22.2 points per game. Second time in the 23-year Ron Arnett era that one of his players has averaged 20 a game. Bowens did it this year, and she did it a season ago as well. The 2 guard is Caitlin Meyer, 5'3" junior from Brooksville, Kentucky, 3.8 points per game. She is a first-year starter. Jessica Marshall from East Carter High School in Grayson will play the small forward, 6 points and 5 boards. Jana Glick will play the power forward, 5'10" junior from Massillon, Ohio, 13.8 points per game, which is number 3 on the team, and a team best 6.7 rebounds. And Monica Stevens will get the start again. She has coming off the bench because of some ankle issues, but started here over the weekend, starts again tonight, 3.8 points and 3.8 rebounds. Second team All-American a season ago was Bowens. Ron Arnett, 7-time National Coach of the Year in his 23rd season, 583 wins, a 76% winning percentage, assisted tonight by Terry Marshall and Heather Stacy. For OCU, they go at the guards with Alexander and Smith, at the forwards with Asia Woodson and Maritza Will. In the center is Olivia Davis, the sophomore from Grove City, Ohio. Of course, the coach Matt Futch in his first season, 30 years old, 8 wins, 8 losses. Referee Tim Carr will throw it up. OCU in the home white and KCU in the visiting black, and we are underway from the Maxwell Leadership Center. Rick Cooper and the OCU Trailblazers Sports Network. It is great to have you with us. This is senior Jessica Marshall. Out of the left side, and Jana Glick to Bowens, who tried to scoop it up, and not only did she scoop it up, she put it in, and she was fouled. The foul is going to be charged to Maddie Joseph, her first. And the bucket is good for Tanya Bowens. She'll look for 3 with 1 more, as we told you in the pregame. On pace right now to become KCU's all-time leading scorer in the next 4 or 5 games, and it'd be tight. I mean, she's got a golden opportunity to become the leading assist man as well. First junior ever to win the National Player of the Year award a season ago. First shot by OCU is no good, so KCU with a 3-0 lead. This is Caitlin Meyer, the junior from Brooksville, Kentucky. 3-year player, first-year starter. Glick to Bowens, looking underneath for Stevens. Stevens gets it right over to Glick, who caught it quickly and got it up and dropped it in. Nice pass from the post and Monica Stevens, and I like the aggressiveness of Glick. There was no questioning, no debate. She was going to catch it and shoot it quickly. It's 5-0 KCU, and Bowens slapped it out of bounds. It'll stay with the Trailblazers. We talked about it with Matt Futch, one of the constants in this rivalry of late. KCU has really gotten out of the gate much quicker than OCU. Woodson deflects it off the back of one of the Lady Knights, Aaron Kraft style, if you saw the Michigan State game about a week and a half ago. Underneath Will, out to Davis. This is Woodson into the lane. Her shot was partially deflected, and it'll stay with the Trailblazers. They put a fresh 30 on the clock, which that ball never hit the rim, and Ron Arnett gets up and makes Jim Vastine, the U2, aware of it, and so now They put it back to 1. We'll see if OCU knows it. They do. Joseph would have counted if she put it in, but it comes up short. And the rebound to Jessica Marshall. Bowens races down the floor. She put it in, and she was fouled. Score the basket for Tanya Bowens. The foul is on number 13, Tiaja Smith. We had an opportunity, as we always do, to talk to Ron Arnett. Always spends time with us. Appreciate that. And one of the things he has said about Tanya Bowens the last couple of years, he says, Coop, I have never had somebody get down the floor with the basketball as fast as Tanya Bowens. You got a little glimpse of it right there. He says the second fastest player I ever had was Megan Oliver. Megan Oliver Swart now out of Worcester, Ohio, and she was a speedster with it. Maritza Will in the land of the Giants put it up and in. That's a good sign for Maritza Will, who is going to be undersized underneath, and she has struggled at times against bigger front lines. And Bowens going to be fouled here by Shekinah Alexander. So Tanya Bowens single-handedly has drawn a foul on every member of the OCU backcourt. Talking about Tiaja Smith, Shekinah Alexander, and Maddie Joseph, and she has done it in 1 minute and 54 seconds. Inbound out to Bowens. Bowens was recruited by every NAIA in the state of Kentucky coming out of high school, and Monica Stevens, if you let her catch it that far underneath the basket, she's going to go for 40. 10-2 KCU, under 18 minutes to play. Positioning, oh so important, and even more important here this season with the new rules where you've got to play hands off. There's a deflection and there's a steal by Caitlin Meyer. 10-2, Meyer being hounded by Woodson, and Woodson going to be guilty of a reach-in. About 55 feet away from the rim. So now every, if you want to say backcourt player for OCU, has one apiece. Fourth on the team, and it is 10-2 KCU. We talked about it pregame, the ability of the Knights to get out and force OCU to play catch-up the rest of the night. They have done it many times in this rivalry, and they are off to a great start here if you're watching in Grayson, Kentucky. Bowens with the left hand to the left wing. Little stop and start, fading from 12 feet. She hits again. That's 8 for Tanya Bowens. 12-2. KCU by 10. Woodson left side to fire a 3. Spun out on her. Rebound Davis. She had a lane to the rim, and I don't think Olivia sensed it. Didn't know it. Kicked it back out to a guard instead of attacking. Joseph, Alexander, this is Woodson. Into the lane, had it blocked from behind, and a foul is going to be called. And they're going to say it, well, I guess it was after the shot. Asia saying, sir, I was shooting the basketball, and that's a point of emphasis this year. The call there made by Andy Godwin. And one of the points of emphasis is if you pick that basketball up and even hint like you're shooting it, that it's supposed to translate into a couple free throws, and now they do make that call. So initially it was Andy Godwin that said we're going to bring this basketball in underneath the basket, and Ron Arnett having a discussion with Mr. Godwin near the bench as well, and Coach smiling. Andy Godwin smiling, everybody's smiling. So for a second free throw by Asia Woodson is up and in, so she splits a pair and stops the bleeding ever so slightly. It's 12-3, KCU by 9, but right baseline, it's Glick who dropped it off to Stevens, and right before she could raise up and put it in, Maddie Joseph got a hand in there and slapped it out of bounds. It'll stay with the Lady Knights. 14 on the shot clock, 16:30 to play here in the opening half. Jessica Marshall, senior, will marry this summer, the quarterback from the KCU football team, and the ball deflected out of OCU. And it'll stay with the Lady Knights again. Yep, she will marry the young man by the name of Graham Johnston, the quarterback of the Knights. Marshall, a 4-year player on this team from right in Grayson at East Carter High School. And a turnover here. Woodson ahead of the pack. Woodson to the left block, went to the left hand, couldn't finish. Davis with a putback, no good. Ball on the floor, Woodson got it back. And this time the shot no good, but Marshall got her on the arm. And Asia Woodson going to go to the free throw line and get 2. Foul on Marshall is her first, team second. Asia Woodson, second team All-American a season ago, first team All-Region performer. And the first free throw is up and in. So Woodson now 2 of 3 from the charity stripe. She has 2 points in this game. Second one is no good, so she splits a pair again, and it's now 12-4. KCU by 8. Bowens and Caitlin Meyer. Meyer, unique story, had a brother, Evan, that was at KCU back when in the late 90s, a long time ago. So quite a gap between her and one of her older siblings. Older brother I was friends with. Into the lane, Sunday, who's checked in. Her shot blocked, and Monica Stevens got her with some body, and Sunday will shoot 2. And according to my numbers, that is number 2 on Monica Stevens, and it is. So we'll see. Here's Sharonda Jones at the table anyway. She's coming in after this first free throw by Sunday. So Stevens will sit down with 2 points and 2 fouls. We get our first look at Sharonda Jones, who has really elevated her scoring, second on the team this year, 14 points per game, and shooting a team best 60% from the field. Olivia Davis sits down. And the second free throw by Sunday caroms around and drops in again. So Sunday with her first 2, OCU 4 of 6, 67%. Davis and Woodson sit down. So Tiaja Smith back in. It's Smith and Alexander at the guards. Joseph, Sunday, and Will the front line. In OCU, first time we've seen them play zone. I think that I've seen them all year. Sitting back in a 2-3 zone right now. Bowens around to the right baseline, and Meyer. We'll see if they can have some success in this aggressive 2-3, and a foul going to be called, a cheap one on Maritza Will on that right baseline. First on Will, 5th on the team already. Matt Futch talked about it in the pregame. OCU has gotten themselves in some foul trouble early. Teams have been in the bonus at the 10-minute to 15-minute mark, and right now OCU with already 5 with less than 5 minutes in the book. Shot up close by Glick, no good, as she tried to go to the left hand. Rebound, and a long outlet by Joseph is deflected out of bounds by Sharonda Jones. Sharonda Jones, obviously a unique story in this rivalry. Second year at KCU after 2 years at OCU. Was the second leading scorer here at Ohio Christian back in 2012 when she averaged 10.5 points, averaged 17 last year, along with 6.7 rebounds, which were team highs at the national tournament when KCU finished 3rd. And an illegal screen is going to be called on Sarah Bechtel, who tried to set up shop near the right elbow and apparently was moving in the process. So that's number 6 on the team. KCU will shoot free throws on every OCU foul the rest of the way, but Jones has really grown to call KCU home. She's a national champ from that 2012 team, and this fall was named the homecoming queen at KCU, and good for her. One of the more likable players that I have met over the years in covering this level of athletics. Just a nice young lady, Sharonda Jones, and I know family down in Pompano Beach, Florida, watching this broadcast tonight. Jumper no good for OCU. The lead is 8. Number 11, Allie Sloan at the table for KCU. She'll check in at the next dead ball. Jones, nice interior pass to Jana Glick. Boy, Ron Arnett has made a living with that play right there. They get it either to the free throw line right in the middle or an elbow, and he's always seemed to have 2 post players that play well together. This time it was Glick and Jones, and Glick with her second field goal and 4 points. Will skip pass to Joseph, firing a 3, right side of the iron, no good. Ball loose and ends up in the hands of Marshall. Good execution there by OCU. Nice skip pass. Joseph got a good look, just did not finish. The left side 3, no good. Glick an offensive rebound. She'll bring it back out. Glick to Jones. Now to Meyer. 23 on the shot clock, 13:30 to play in the half. Here's Bowens, who has been quiet after a couple plays early in this first half. Jones into the lane, may have walked, no good, and Bechtel the rebound. Tuesday Night Hoops presented by Zwoyer and Associates Insurance Agency and the Westfield Insurance Group. Bechtel just hit a 3. Jana Glick was late closing out, and Ron Arnett letting her know it right now. You better believe that was part of the scouting report that you can't give Sarah Bechtel an inch, and Glick was late closing out, and Sarah Bechtel made them pay. So Trailblazers within 7, 16-9. early here in the first half. It is Tuesday Night Hoops. It is presented exclusively by Zwoyer and Associates Insurance Agency and the Westfield Insurance Group. Zwoyer and Associates Insurance Agency, where insurance just got easier. 448 North Court Street in Circleville. Call 740-474-6023 to learn more. And they have a nice website as well, ZwoyerInsurance.com. A lot coming up tonight, some neat segments. Josh Merton, the OCU men's and women's soccer coach, going to join us here at halftime of the women's game to talk a little bit about OCU soccer, what's going on with those programs. And halftime of the men's game, a special feature with Clark Kellogg, the former Buckeye great from CBS Sports. So be sure to stick around at halftime of both games for those segments. Somebody stepped on the baseline before Bowens could shoot it, and it's a turnover back to OCU. Number 11, Allie Sloan, does check in for Ron Arnett's Lady Knights, freshman from Ashland, Kentucky. Answer to a trivia question. She's the first recruit in Lady Knights basketball history from Paul Blazer High School, one of the two high schools in Ashland, and an air ball is going to give it right back to KCU. Thought that was interesting. She also was the MVP of the 16th region tournament last year, not the regular season, but the tournament, when she hit a three at the buzzer to win the 16th region. So nice solid prospect in Allie Sloan that's averaging right at 5 a game. Glick, free throw line extended, drops it off to Bowens. Over to Marshall. This is Jones. Straight away 17-footer, no good. Came up short on a line drive, and Shekinah Alexander, the defensive rebound for OCU. Brittany Rucker, as Matt Futch looks for some instant offense. Rucker shot it well on Friday night in that win against Northland, but misses here, and the lead remains at 7. Bowens into the lane, shot no good, but a foul, and if it's on Sarah Bechtel, it'll be number 2. And instead, it's on number 20, Brittany Rucker. It's her first, team 7th. 7 different players right now for OCU with a foul. KCU with 3 as a team. First free throw by Tanya Bowens is up and in. Bowens, a 94% free throw shooter this year, which is a career high. Comes in 43 of 46. One more for Bowens, and the second one, it comes up a little bit short. Rebound OCU. Bowens shooting it better from the field, 49%. Shooting it better from the free throw line at 94%. Her one weakness right now is on threes at only 24%, which is down some, 19%, I believe it is, from a year ago when she shot better than 40%. And an offensive foul is going to be called. On Tanya Bowens. That's her first, team fourth. Bowens will sit down. Looking at my numbers, yep, 24% on threes this year, 41% a season ago, I beg your pardon, so down 17% from behind the arc. Ron Arnett, pleased with her shooting everywhere else, said she just needs to get in the gym and shoot some more threes. Top of the key, it's Woodson to the left side, and Brittany Rucker. Rucker underneath to Alexander into the land of the Giants. Nice little scoop shot, and a loose ball foul is going to be called on Alexander as she tried to tie up Jana Glick. So the foul on Alexander makes her the first Trailblazer in any kind of trouble now with 2. And since it was a loose ball foul, we will walk to the other end with 11:23 to play and shoot the 1-and-1, and it should be Jana Glick that will do the honors. KCU 72% from the line as a team right now, which, looking back on some of their free throw numbers over the years, it's the best free throw shooting that a Ron Arnett team has had in the last 5 years. They were 71% a year ago, and we're in the 60s the 3 or 4 years prior to that. First free throw for Glick is up and in. Kind of shoots it a little bit unorthodox, kind of shot it from the hip a little bit, but it went in, and it's now 18-9. KCU has doubled up OCU with 11:23 to play, and the second one is up and in as well. Jana Glick. Ron Arnett says nobody has put on more weight as a post player than Jana Glick. Carissa Evans, a possibility in that same sentence, but Glick in the weight room all the time and was put on a lot of muscle and has made her a lot more effective. There's a steal by Bowens. Bowens off to the races, goes to the rim, but could not finish. And it looked like Jones touched it last. They're going to keep it with KCU. Looked like Andy Godwin was thinking about coming down and providing Tim Carr with some assistance there, but does not do it. They're going to keep it with the Lady Knights. Inbound to Jones, and Jones hammered to the floor. She did a good job just catching that basketball in the midst of double coverage, and she was immediately fouled by Maritza Will. And that is now number 2 on Maritza Will. And so the fouls beginning to pile up quickly. Trailblazers with 9 of them as a team, with still 11 minutes and 1 second to play in the half. And the first free throw by Jones is up and in. We've got KCU 6 of 8 from the charity stripe unofficially for 75%. First point of the game for the second team region performer, Sharonda Jones. And she does hit the second, 21-9. KCU by a dozen. Will threw it away, intercepted by Bowen. She's going to go to the other end and put it up and in. That's one of those plays. It's kind of like when Deion Sanders played in the NFL. You've got to know where Deion is at all times, and Asia Woodson just picked up her second on an offensive foul, and I think OCU panicking a little bit. Matt Funch sensing it. He says we need a timeout, but to finish that thought, you can't throw the basketball in the vicinity of Tanya Bowens if you're not certain it's going to be completed. I mean, you've got to be very, very careful, and when you're not, she's going to make you pay, as she did right there. We'll take a break. Tuesday Night Hoops presented by Zwoyer and Associates Insurance Agency, 23-9 KCU. This is the OCU Sports Network.
Hey, you, pull over! Uh-oh, Vince. They're really cracking down on safety belts these days.
What's up, officer?
I'm giving you a ticket for committing an 811.
Safety belt violation.
Compliments of Barney Fife.
We never wear safety belts. We're dummies.
Weisenheimers.
He gave us a ticket.
Man's got to do what he's got to do.
10:41 to play here in the first half. Rick Cooper, JT Burcham, Fairfield Media, and the Ohio Christian University Sports Network. First of 2 tonight between these two teams, 23-9. OCU trailing by 14 here early. Bowens off a screen. Goes back to the screener, Jones. Jones couldn't handle it. Ball on the floor. Joseph on the floor, and she gets it to Asia Woodson. It's a 2-on-2 break. Woodson into the lane, and a foul is going to be called on Jessica Marshall. May have been some basketball as well, but the velocity with which Marshall swung was a red flag to the men in stripes, and it's number 2 on the KCU senior. Couple free throws coming up here for Asia Woodson. Woodson 69% on the season. OCU 64% as a team. The first free throw is no good. So Woodson now 2 of 5 from the charity stripe. OCU unofficially 4 of 9 as a team. Marshall sits down. Second free throw is good again. So third straight time that Asia Woodson has split a pair. It's 23-10. KCU by 13. Bowens right wing, little stop and start, guarded by Smith, and little stop and start, and then a little bit of contact pushed Smith back just enough that it allowed Bowens to raise up and hit a little 13-footer. Right baseline, it's Olivia Davis, guarded by Jones, and Jones tried to go cross court and she threw it away. I think Matt Futch saying there was some hands there, and I think he may have a valid point. And Matt Futch saying it's happening every time. Under 10 minutes to play, first half, 25-10. He's still giving an earful up close to Andy Godwin, the U1, and ball slapped out of bounds here by the Trailblazers. KCU will keep it. To inbound here is Allie Sloan, backup point guard. I think the U2 here, Jim Vastine, just announced that he's had enough from the OCU bench. Right side, Meyer, who threw it away, got into the lane and tried to bounce pass back out to the wing that didn't have any kind of momentum, velocity to it, had no chance of getting there. A little stop and start by Joseph, missed badly. 2-on-1 break, now 3-on-2. Glick into the lane, and she was fouled and will shoot 2. And that is number 2 now on Tiaja Smith. So Matt Fudge telling Smith, get those hands up. If you've ever watched Aaron Kraft from the Buckeyes play, when he runs through on a play like that, may play very aggressive, but as he runs through, the hands are in the air. And hard for the men in stripes to call a foul when you've got your hands in the air, but Smith took a swing and picked up her second foul. First free throws up and in for Jana Glick, the junior from Massillon, Ohio. Davis sits down. Javon Graham, the freshman from Central Crossing, makes her first appearance, and Glick hits the front of the rim and gets it to drop in again. So 2 for Jana Glick, and all of a sudden this is a 17-point game. It's 27-10 with 9:20 to play in the first half. Woodson to the right wing, and Tiaja Smith. Hand off there to Joseph, and an illegal screen. It's either on Tiaja Smith or Javon Graham, and it's going to be Graham who doesn't understand the call, doesn't like it. It's her first and team's 12th. So may I say it one more time, the fouls beginning to pile up in this game for OCU. 12 on the Trailblazers, only 5 on the Lady Knights. Jones working hard down at the left block. She wants it. They don't get it to her on the left block. She rotates to the right. Into the game, number 10, Paige Warren, another backup guard, true freshman out of Frenchburg, Kentucky. Into the lane, Bowen spun and put it in again. That is 17 for Tanya Bowens here in the first 11 minutes. Tiaja Smith, right wing, Joseph. Trailblazers have got to keep their poise. Matt Futch pregame talked about how resilient this team is. It's going to be tested here. And Tiaja Smith, not ordinarily a three-point shooter, 15% coming in. It's a big, big one. It's only her third made 3 of the season, and it couldn't come at a better time. 29-13 and a foul here. And if this is on Asia Woodson, it'll be number 3 on her, and it is. So an absolute killer now as the OCU leading scorer at 17 a game has picked up her third foul, and it'll take number 10, Paige Warren, an 88% free throw shooter, to the line for 2. And the question of the night is, how would you like to be an NCCAA Division II women's basketball player on a team, shoot 88% from the line, and be the third best shooter on the team? That doesn't happen very often. Second free throw, no good. Jana Glick, an offensive rebound. 30-13, lead is 17. Left side, Warren's 3 is right there. She also shoots 32% on threes, and Paige Warren with her first triple. And the lead is 20 underneath Sunday. Cross court to Woodson, left baseline 3, back of the iron, and a loose ball foul called on Sarah Sunday. And we're going to walk to the other end and shoot a couple more free throws. First foul on Sunday, number 14 on the team. And so Sharonda Jones will go to the other end and get 2. Shekinah Alexander waiting at the table. They will not let her in until after the first free throw from Jones. And I'm going to bet just about everything I own she's coming in for Woodson, who's going to have to sit down with those 3 fouls. And that's a situation there where you've got to know kind of time and distance. I mean, you're playing with 2 fouls. Appreciate the aggressive play, but a third one at this point for the OCU leading scorer is catastrophic. Second free throw is no good, so Jones splits a pair. 34-13. Top of the key, Joseph comes down and hits a 3 before Warren could get out on her. That's another big bucket. This one from Joseph, first points of the game for the freshman from Olentangy Orange High School. Trailblazers trail by 18, still plenty of time. 22 minutes left, or 27 minutes, I should say. Bowen's 3 spins out. Paige Warren, the smallest player on the floor, the rebound. to Sloan, to Jones, to Bowens. Little stop and start. Right baseline, Sloan fires a three, no good, and Joseph the defensive rebound. Out to Alexander. Alexander into the lane, took it right at Sloan and put it in. Nice play by Shekinah Alexander. Sloan played pretty good defense, and Alexander just made a better shot. 34-18, right side Warren to answer with three, no good. And Maritza Will the rebound. I don't think Ron Arnett too particularly pleased with that attempt. And Joseph tried to answer with another three. This one came up short. Bowens to run, behind Tiaja Smith, slapped it loose. 34-18. Between the circles, this is Shekinah Alexander. Woodson already on the bench with 3 fouls. Will playing with 2. Tiaja Smith playing with 2. And Alexander playing with 2. Smith into the lane, dropped it in. Nice move by Tiaja Smith. She has 5. And it's 34-20. Jessica Marshall coming to the table as well. Caitlin Meyer is there. Monica Stevens is there. This is the closest OCU has been in quite a while. Jones at the right elbow, had it, I thought, tied up. Looked like there was a lot of basketball, but apparently Sarah Sunday guilty of a hold as well. It's number 2 on her. And I know it doesn't matter when you go over the 10 foul limit, but it's worth noting that is number 15 on the team, still with 5:55 to play in the first half. Couple of free throws here for Jones, and the first one is up and in. So much for the quote-unquote home court advantage. Jones with 4. Allie Sloan sits down. Jessica Marshall back in. Stevens waits at the table. She'll come in for the shooter, Jones, if she puts this in, and she does. So Sharonda hits 2. 5 points for her. Paige Warren sat down as well as Caitlin Meyer back in for her. Meyer returns scoreless. Paige Warren with 4 quick points off Ron Arnett's bench. 2 big ones there for Sharonda Jones, 36-20. Lead is 16. Joseph off a screen. Little 2-man game, little stop, little start, little kiss off the glass. Nicely done. That's a big-time move by the freshman Maddie Joseph. You can see why they're so excited about her here in Circleville. 36-22, under 5.5 to play in the half. Halftime show coming up, an interview with Josh Merton, the OCU soccer coach. Alexander with a steal. She nearly missed the layup. It hung on the rim and she put it in. 4 points for Shekinah Alexander. Ron Arnett doesn't like the way this thing's going. The lead down to 12, and he calls a 30-second timeout. Let's take a look at tonight's Christian Healthcare Ministries injury report. We were supposed to pay that bill in the pregame, and I didn't get the job done. Christian Healthcare Ministries is an eligible option for individuals under the U.S. Affordable Care Act, commonly known as Obamacare. To learn more, visit chministries.org and click the eligible option link. That website again is chministries.org. And for OCU, it looked pretty good. Maddie Joseph obviously back at full strength after the concussion in mid-November. On the KCU side of things, Monica Stevens had an high ankle sprain that kept her out about 3 weeks. She's at about 90% right now. Jasmine Johnson, freshman, tore her ACL the first week of school. She's out for the year. They do hope to have her back in 2014-15. And again, that is a look at your Christian Healthcare Ministries injury report. Biblical, trustworthy, and affordable. Christian Healthcare Ministries often saves their members at least 60% off the regular cost of health insurance. Join today and see how much you can save. Jessica Marshall just tripled from the baseline. First points for the honorable mention region performer. Quickly at the other end, ball caroms around up close. Will an offensive rebound, and what are they going to call here? A jump ball. And the possession arrow is going to keep it with OCU. KCU fans love that call. OCU fans hate it, as Will had an advantage and was getting ready to shoot the basketball for what looked like an easy 2 at the left block. Here comes Sarah Bechtel. Will sit down. Will sits 2 points, 2 fouls. Bechtel back in with 3 points and 1 foul. 4:48 to play in the half. Inbound to Joseph, right elbow, back out to Bechtel. Nice pick and pop. Her three a little bit too strong, and Jana Gluck a flat-footed rebound near the left elbow. Marshall to Stevens. Stevens looking underneath for Glick, and Joseph was in all kinds of trouble in the land of the Giants against the bigger and stronger Jana Glick, and it's her second and the team over the 10 foul limit. So Jana Glick, an 84% free throw shooter. May I ask that question one more time? How would you like to play at the D2 level, shoot 84% from the free throw line and be the 4th best free throw shooter on your team? That's not true in the NBA. The Cleveland Cavs don't have 4 people shooting 84%. First free throw's no good for Jana Glick. Second free throw is up and in. So Glick splits a pair. 9 points here in the first half. 40-24. The lead is 16. Joseph, top of the key, to the left hand, to the left elbow. Little turnaround from 6 feet, no good. Davis an offensive rebound, but her outlet is intercepted by Jessica Marshall. 16-point advantage as we near 4 minutes to play in a first half that has been dominated by the team wearing black. Left baseline Bowens. Glick sets a screen, cross court to Caitlin Meyer. Underneath, a lot of contact. Olivia Davis looks perplexed at the call, but I think it was the right call. It's the first on Olivia. 17th on this OCU team in the first 16 minutes and 4 seconds. And Sharonda Jones to the line to shoot 2, working on a 5-point first half. Make it 6. Had quite a national tournament a year ago, did Jones. We talked about it earlier. 17 points, 7 rebounds. It's the second free throw here. Shot 55% from the field in that national tournament, 16 of 29, and has picked up right where she left off in that tournament this season. Alexander dropped it off to Bechtel. Make that Davis, who could not finish. Beautiful pass on the penetration. Woodson is back in there with 3 fouls. Bowens, left side Meyer, left baseline Marshall, firing a 3, no good. Rebound Jones, who put it up and in. That's just effort right there. Sharonda Jones bringing energy underneath the rim and just outworking everybody wearing white right now. 44-24, the lead is back up to 20. Right baseline Alexander, Joseph with a screen. Alexander into the lane, her runner no, and a foul. And I believe it was Sharonda Jones that came up and tried to provide some help, and that is going to be the call. The foul on Jones is her first, team 6th. Shekinah Alexander, first-year player here with OCU, will get 2 with 3:06 to play in the half. And the first one is short. Played 2 years, or got an associate's degree from a JUCO down in Georgia. Got connected to OCU through her good friend Asia Woodson, both of them from the Toledo area. Glick sits down. Bechtel going to sit down for OCU as Maritza Will is back in. So Matt Futch going with Alexander, Will, Davis, Woodson, and Joseph. Second free throw for Alexander is up and in. Shekinah splits a pair. OCU unofficially 6 of 12 from the stripe for 50%. 3 minutes exactly to play in the half. 44-25. Trailblazers trailing by 19. Stevens again underneath and put it in. And may I say it one more time, if you let her catch it in that spot, she will eat you for lunch. Right side, Joseph just hit a 3. And if you let Joseph catch it in that spot and shoot, she'll have your lunch as well. 46-28. You got to get Stevens off the block. You can't let her catch it 3 feet from the rim. Left side, it's Meyer to Bowens off a Stevens screen into the lane. Had it slapped loose by the quick hands of Maddie Joseph. It'll stay with KCU. Tuesday Night Hoops presented exclusively by Zwoyer and Associates Insurance Agency and the Westfield Insurance Group. Zwoyer and Associates Insurance Agency, where insurance just got easier. Quick catch on the inbound by Sharonda Jones and a quick foul by Maritza Will. It is number 3 on the OCU junior. First free throw for Jones, nothing but the bottom of the net. She is in double digits with 10, and most of that has been done at the charity stripe. Sarah Sunday will check back in for Will, who sits down with 2 points and 3 fouls. Both she and Woodson with 3 here in the opening half. Second free throw, no good by Jones. Sunday the rebound, 2:20 to play in the half, 47-28. Lady Knights by 19. They have put 47 on the board in the first 17 minutes and 45 seconds. Alexander to the left baseline and Joseph. One dribble, left-handed pass out top of the key to Woodson. Woodson into the lane, tough shot, no. Sunday got a hand on it. She couldn't grab it, but she did just enough to kind of knock it off of a KCU Lady Knight. Woodson to inbound underneath the OCU basket. Woodson looking, lob underneath to Sunday. Nice catch by Sarah, and she drew a quick foul on either Marshall or Stevens. It's going to go on Monica Stevens, who looks perplexed, and that is number 3 on her. So Ron Arnett typically does not leave players in with 2 fouls, where OCU will roll the dice a little bit and playing a little game of Russian roulette with Monica Stevens, and he lost that bet because Stevens going to have to sit down with 3 personals, which is a good thing if you're an OCU fan. First free throw, no good for Monica Stevens. Brittany Rucker has checked back in as well. Maddie Joseph sits down. Second free throw for Sunday goes in and out. Rebound Sharonda Jones. Davis, Woodson, Sunday, Alexander, and Rucker out there wearing white for OCU. Jones, 10-footer, perfect. Give her credit, it was probably 12 feet. Nice catch there from near the left elbow, and she dropped it in. Top of the key, Woodson to answer for 3, spun out. Rebound KCU. Minute 35 to play in the half. And an unforced error there as Bowens threw it behind Caitlin Meyer, and minute 32 to play. Lady Knights by 21, 49-28. OCU soccer coach Josh Merton will join us here at halftime. We'll find out what's going on with those 2 programs that continue to make national tournament runs and find out what's going on the recruiting trail, all that good stuff. Sunday off a deflection, caught it at the dots, little jump hook drops in. She's got 4. And her first field goal comes with a $1:10 to play in the half. 49-30, lead is 19. Jones, right baseline. Marshall, top of the key, Jones, 17-footer this time, no good. Offensive rebound, Marshall, and then lost it. Ends up in the hands of Woodson. Woodson went behind the back. Woodson into the lane, runner up, no good. Alexander had it, and what are they going to call? A foul, I believe, on Jones. I don't think Jones really did anything more than she fell to the floor, and when she was on the floor impeded the process or the progress of the OCU player, but that is still a foul whether you intend to do it or not. Number 2 on Jones and number 8 on the team. 46.5 to play in the half. Shekinah Alexander to the line for 2. 1-1, I beg your pardon, and the first one is up and in. 6 points for Alexander, comes in averaging 10.8, which is 3rd best in the team. Marshall sits down for Ron Arnett. As back in is Allie Sloan. First appearance of the game for Taylor Thrasher, 5'11 freshman from Charlestown, Indiana. Sharonda Jones will sit down. Thrasher averages just under 2 points and 2 rebounds. Of course, the younger sister of a pretty darn good one that wore the KCU red and black. Talking about Kelsey Thrasher. Bends the knees, Alexander does, and hits. And if there was ever a team, ever had a team of the just the most quality players that have ever put on that uniform, and I'm not talking about putting it in the hoop, just quality young ladies, Kelsey Thrasher would be a part of that team. Just a fine young lady that lived out her faith on the court and off it as well, and was privileged to work down at KCU, and she played. Right side, it's Bowens. 12-footer is right there. Tanya Bowens has the most quiet 19 points you'll ever have. 51-32. Woodson to answer with 3, and that's a big one for Asia Woodson, who has had trouble getting going. She's got 6 points, and it's 51-35. Shot clock is off. Knights could hold it for one if they desire. Into the lane, Glick finding Sloan. Top of the key, Bowens. Clock down to 3, clock to 2. Bowens on the run, no. Deflected into the air. Sloan had it, and her shot did not get out of her hand, apparently, before the first half has ended. So 20 minutes in the books here at the Maxwell Leadership Center here on the OCU campus, and it is Kentucky Christian, the #1 ranked team in the NCCAA Division II, with a convincing first half. They lead OCU 51-35. Coming up, the halftime show. We'll take a look at some of the first half numbers, recap what has transpired, but when we come back, we're going to put a headset on the OCU soccer coach. His name is Josh Merton, to get his thoughts on this first half. Basketball analyst Josh Merton will also talk a little bit about OCU soccer. Why don't we take a 3-minute timeout? The head coach of the Trailblazers soccer teams, Josh Merton, coming up next here on the Ohio Christian University Sports Network.
All right, give me a spot. You know my motto, safety first.
They could be dangerous. I think we should call animal control.
Animal control?
To be safe.
Don't worry.
Just...
I got this. It's a new motto.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
John 3:16. For God so loved the world, the whole world, everyone, anyone, that a lot of people, that he gave his one and only Son. His only Son. That whoever believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life.
There we go. Back here on the halftime show, the Trailblazers trailing Kentucky Christian 51-35 here at halftime, and lead got up to 20 on a couple different occasions. Asia Woodson with a big 3 late in that first half, and a little bit of momentum, maybe. Trailblazers trailing by 16, but it has been all Lady Knights, and Josh Merton, the OCU soccer coach for both the men and the women in the building tonight. And Coach, before we talk soccer, I saw you here scoping things out. I know you've watched a lot of hoops. I see you over here watching games in the little lounge areas. What'd you see in the first 20 minutes that you liked, and what do you see as concerns that need to get remedied in the second half?
Well, obviously, I think we need to step up the defense a little bit. That's pretty obvious. But, man, KCU's have really, they're strong. They're strong, in a lot of different facets. But, all I like to say is when I first came in, we were on an 11-0 run. So maybe I should leave and then come back and try to get that going again.
How do you handle somebody like Bowens in soccer? It's kind of I don't say she's a one-man wrecking crew, but she had 19 of their 51, really makes this team go. What would you do? What is it, deny her the ball? Is that what you would do in soccer? Would you double team? How would you handle somebody like her?
Well, it kind of depends on what kind of coach you are. I'm not a big marking kind of coach. I prefer to really do it as a team, so we really practice on just total team defense. So you really got to cut their time with the ball a lot, and I'm assuming it's the same with basketball. But we really try to shut the amount of time that they have the ball and how they can distribute the ball. We just really put a lot of pressure, I guess is what it comes down to.
All right.
A lot of pressure. That's the word I was looking for.
I'm sure that's a word right now in the locker room that Matt Futch, but it's hard, in basketball a little bit different because there's fouls. I think they let you play a little bit more in soccer. I see more stuff. Well, there's a lot of differences. You can yell at the officials a lot more in soccer too. I think I see more.
My people better not.
I've seen more hollering at officials. There's stuff that happens out there that I think, man, you get kicked out down here. But it's hard when you have aggressive players like Shekinah Alexander Alexander, Asia Woodson, Asia Smith, and you get called for, I'm not making excuses, but 18 fouls. That limits what you do with pressure, doesn't it?
It really does. But again, the thing that you have to coach the players on is adjusting to how the game's being played, and the referees are part of that. So you have to adjust your game to it.
And you definitely have to adjust after you pick up a second foul, and the coach gives you the opportunity to stay in the game, which a lot of coaches don't. And picked up a third one, did a couple of the Trailblazers, and we have a little bit of an issue right now. But let's talk soccer. We've talked basketball enough. Let's start with the women. First regional championship this year, 6th in the nation, and a couple All-Americans. How would you evaluate the 2013 campaign?
Coming of age. We grew up a lot this year, and we really just kind of turned the corner. It was a great season for us. We had a big win against Shawnee State, where it was kind of a back and forth game, and that really kind of turned the corner for us. And then we went into the regional tournament, and KCU, just like in women's basketball, for women's soccer is the big game. And we had done well against them during the regular season. We got into the postseason, had to go to PK shootout, and won the game. It was phenomenal season for the women. I was really proud of them.
And you, Aubrey Paw and Caitlin Danner, individually had big years. Are both of them coming back? Talk a little bit about what they bring, and then recruiting. What do you have coming in next year as well?
Sure. Aubrey and Caitlin both are sophomores, so that we got 2 more years with them. Thank God.
Nice. Thank you, Jesus.
Right. But Aubrey is the defense. She was a midfielder. We recruited her as a midfielder, but now we have her back on the center line, and so she's really the smarts behind the back line there for us. Caitlin Danner, last year we had her a lot on defense, because we needed her there, but now that we have more depth there, we moved her up to forward where she's more comfortable, and she ended up being 2nd in the nation with goals scored. I believe it was 23, and so she really was able to flourish this year. So we're real excited. We're in the weight room right now. We're making sure that we get things down there. Recruiting wise, we already have a verbal commitment, a young lady from Grove City High School who will help strengthen out our midfield. So we're looking good for the next year too.
Cool. That area has been good to us. Several Central Crossing girls out here. Brenda Carter Baker, the Hilliard boys, the Baker boys from that region of Columbus as well. But
that's right.
Danner, really a unique story. I was always amazed watching her play basketball. How she was able to get into the lane and battle with the giants down there. She's not very big, but I guess she knows how to use her body and maybe is stronger than she looks.
Yes, it's stronger than she looks, and it's how she uses her body. She's not the fastest person in the world, but it's all about how she uses her body to shield off the defender and able to make the move after that. So yeah, definitely.
Josh Merton, the OCU men's and women's soccer coach. Let's change gears and talk a little bit about the men that have really established themselves as the team to beat in the Mid-East region. They did it again this year. Your thoughts on that campaign?
We're a younger team this year. We had probably one of our toughest years this year from the standpoint of, we lost a handful of games in a row, but the camaraderie, the way that the guys have come together, we really showed out really well. Finished strong. I think we finished 6-0-1 or 6-1-1 to finish the season.
Nice.
So we're on track.
First team All-American Colin Hawk. Your thoughts on his season individually?
He's like my Aubrey Paul on the women's side. Both of them are smart players. They both have really stepped up and improved over the past year. He's also a sophomore, so we're going to have him for another 2 more years. And he's humble. Colin is just a humble player, and I'm really excited for him. I'm looking forward to seeing even greater things from him. We're going to lean on him from the standpoint of leadership this next year and start trying to groom him that way.
And quite an opportunity or an award at the national tournament, the Leighton Shoemaker Award that you were telling me a little bit off the air, that gets voted on by the referees.
Yeah.
They don't do that in basketball.
No, they don't.
Talk a little bit about that and what that meant to you as a head coach.
It's a big honor. We're going through right now. We're changing our culture, and to come across, being able to, honored with this award with Leighton, the name of Leighton Shoemaker. Leighton Shoemaker was he just passed away almost a year ago to the day, and he was really the founder of Messiah College Soccer, and really turned things about integrating your faith with your sport, and so to have our name associated with that is just a huge deal, and it just goes to show you what kind of guys we have. We're competing at the national level, and we're doing it the right way. with character and with Christian character.
There's guys out there that have character, that love Jesus, and can still come out and get it done on the field.
I don't want anyone to tell me that you can't find Christians that can't play athletics. Forget it. I won't believe it.
I had a coach that told me that once. I won't tell you who, I won't tell you where, but you can't win with Christians. And, well, you're doing it right now. And to finish that thought, I know that's a big vision of the athletic director here, Ben Bellman, to really not just be a Christian, a college that has athletics that happens to be Christian, but to be really intentional about making this a ministry and really impacting young men's lives and shaping men that are going to go out and be world changers for Jesus. Just your thoughts about being a part of that, and your thought really on how that process has evolved.
A blessing, lucky. The fact that God's using me to minister to these young men, it's amazing what He uses you for, and it's all on Him. Everything, it's just amazing, and the process that we've gone through and the changes that we've made on the with our programs. It's a lot more fulfilling. It's a lot more rewarding. It's really exciting to see these young men and women really start to grow. You have to go through the tough times, through the growing process. But it's been a great, phenomenal trip for me, man. I'll tell you.
I bet 20 years from now, banners are going to be nice to come back and walk in here and see championships or whatever. But I imagine to see guys out there that are good husbands and good followers, leaders in their church, it's going to be a whole lot more fulfilling, I would imagine. And same thing with the women's team as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt. At the end of the day, I don't get paid a whole bunch of money. So the way you get paid is by knowing and having them come back and say, hey, this is how my life turned out. Hey, this is what's going on with my marriage, and this is great, and that's how you get you get paid that way.
Sure, absolutely. So. Josh, keep up the good work. Thanks for coming in and talking soccer with us, and look forward to seeing it next year. And we're hoping, if we can get everything worked out, we're hoping to get our crew out there and actually call a game, but I'm going to need a lot of help if we're going to make that happen.
Hey, man, let's just do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, Josh, appreciate your time. Thanks a lot. That's Josh Merton, the head coach of the OCU men's and women's soccer teams. Again, 2 regional tournament championships for the men and the women this year. The women 6th in the nation. The men finished 5th, and a lot of sophomores that he talked about, talking about Paw and Danner and All-American Colin Hawk. It looks like the best yet to come for OCU men's and women's soccer. We're at halftime here in the Maxwell Leadership Center. Kentucky Christian leading OCU 51-35. We'll take a 2-minute timeout. Second half action is coming up next here on the Ohio Christian University Sports Network.
Full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Hi, I'm Mike Miller, host of Lancaster Perspective. The crew and I would like to extend a formal invitation to you to catch us on Channel 9 Lancaster School Network.
Lancaster Perspective on LSN.
Halftime here in the Maxwell Leadership Center. Rick Cooper in the OCU Sports Network. It is Tuesday Night Hoops, presented exclusively by Swoyer & Associates Insurance Agency and the Westfield Insurance Group. Let's take a look at tonight's Christian Healthcare Ministries injury report, shall we? It is brought to you by Christian Healthcare Ministries, an eligible option for individuals under the U.S. Affordable Care Act, commonly known as Obamacare, affectionately known as Obamacare. To learn more, visit chministries.org and click the eligible option link. That website again is chministries.org. Monica Stevens, 90% right now with a high ankle sprain, missed 2 or 3 weeks, late November, early December. In action tonight, Jasmine Johnson, one of the KCU freshmen, tore her ACL the first week of school, out for the year, but she will be back next season for OCU. Nobody on that injury report. Maddie Joseph had that concussion back about a month ago, but no reason to even list her really on that report anymore, as she is back to about 100%. So, and again, that is the Christian Healthcare Ministries injury report. And as we say that, Maddie Joseph right now at the free throw line in some obvious pain as she has had some kind of injury. We'll take a break as they tend to her. It is 51-35 KCU. You're watching OCU basketball here on the OCU Sports Network.
Ohio Christian University offers accredited, career-focused undergraduate and graduate degree programs for busy adults. Classes are convenient, offered online or evenings and weekends at our 12 locations. OCU will prepare you for your next step and help you discover your higher purpose.
We invite you to attend Ohio Christian University.
What gets you moving?
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you fuel your body
and your mind.
Whether you like to throw around the football,
play frisbee in the park,
or dance in your room.
Moving every day helps give you a healthy body and mind.
And that makes you part of a winning team. Hey, that was my line. Get up and play an hour a day, Doc.
Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
That's www.letsmove.gov.
Pizza Cottage, same great taste since 1972. Dine-in or carry-out is available at 23401 State Route 23 in Circleville. Call 740-474-3620. Pizza Cottage is the official pizza of OCU Athletics, and that's about as strange. We're talking about the injury report and removing Maddie Joseph's name, and has twisted a knee at the very least, and is still in some obvious pain on the OCU sideline right now. They had to carry her off. And Bowens misses up close here, and the basketball goes back to OCU. So it'll be Tiaja Smith, Shekinah Alexander, and Asia Woodson in there with Maritza Will and Olivia Davis. Underneath it is Will. Little turnaround from up close is up and in. Maritza Will with her second field goal, 4 points, and it's 51-37. Trailblazers within 14. Smith moving her feet. Bowen into the lane. Turnaround is right there. She looks so casual. Looks so easy to Tanya Bowens. 21 points here in this game. It's 53-37. As we said, 81 points away coming in from breaking the school record set by Tabitha Hannum Hall back in the mid-90s, and 21 today. She's within 60 of that all-time scoring record, the only Lady Knight to ever average 20 points per game or more in a season in the 23-year Ron Arnett era. She has done it not only this season, averaging 22 a game, but did it last year when she averaged 20.7. 18:25 to play. Bowens into the lane. Shot no good, but a foul. And she will shoot 2. Third foul on Shekinah Alexander. First on the team here in the second half. And she just almost looks like she's in slow motion sometimes. And that's the sign of usually a pretty good athlete. There's times you're like, they don't even look like they're moving. They run so smooth. It's like an Ernie Els golf swing. Look like he's even hitting the ball, and then he hits it 330 yards. Bowen splits a pair, 22 in the game, and it's 54-39. That's how graceful Bowens looks sometimes getting to the rim. Lead is 15. Left side, it's Abby Fox who's checked in for the first time tonight. The sophomore from Toledo. Alexander into the lane. Will threw a rainbow up, and it went right through the net. So Maritza Will with 2 quick field goals. 6 points in the game, 54-41, lead is 13. Trailblazers not done yet. Jones off balance to the baseline, and the shot no good, and apparently it went out of bounds off KCU, and Ron Arnett giving Jones an earful like that right now. Didn't like the fadeaway to the baseline, probably telling her to take it strong. And Monica Stevens, you better believe, coming in for Jones at the next dead ball. 17:45 to play, and Tasia Smith trying to work her way down the right side, and a foul is going to be charged to Caitlin Meyer, who tried to slow her down and fouled her in the process. Jones does sit down, 12 points, 2 fouls. Monica Stevens back in with 4 points and 3 fouls. 17:43 to play, 54-41, KCU by 13. Alexander on the left wing with the right hand into the lane, took it up over Stevens, no. Stevens playing with 3 fouls, had to be careful, played good D and got the rebound. Bowens to the other end, the bucket is good, and she was fouled again. Foul is going to be charged to Tasia Smith. It's her 3rd. Second on the team here in the second half. Points 23 and 24 for Tanya Bowens, and make it 25 as she hits again. KCU now, 19 of 25 from the charity stripe for 76%. 57-41, lead was down to 13, back up to 16 after the 3-point play there. Alexander between the circles, picked up by Bowens. Now to Rucker, who's checked in, tried to go from the right elbow to the right block and just didn't have enough mustard on that hot dog. At the other end, Bowens into the lane, looking for shooters on the perimeter. Meyer, Marshall, Glick underneath Stevens, back out to Meyer. Good ball movement. Bowens 3, side of the iron, no good. Alexander the rebound. It's a 2-on-1 break. Alexander to Davis, who was in a difficult spot there, but still found a way to put it in with the left hand. Ron Arnett yelling to Bowens to follow her shot. She shot that 3 on the right baseline, and it caromed right back in her vicinity, but she was in retreat mode up the floor. Lob underneath to Bowens, and Davis blocked her shot, and there's got to be a foul. Stevens barreled into Davis. They didn't call anything, and finally they came in and charged the foul to 22, Jana Glick. Looked like he held up 23, but it was Glick. It's her first. That should have been Monica Stevens' 4th foul as she barreled into Davis after she had the basketball. Into the lane, Will lost it, and Jim Vastine looking for some help, and he gets help from Andy Godwin, who says it's OCU basketball. So good job by the Men in Stripes working together. Vastine didn't have it. Tim Carr, the referee out on the left side, couldn't help him, but it was Godwin who said OCU basketball. Inbound to Will. Fox firing a 3, no good. An air ball, rebound underneath to Will or Davis, who put it in. Fox caught that with the wrong foot down. That caused all the problems. A righty went right-left with her feet instead of left-right, and her footwork was all messed up as she airballed that one. And Glick at the other end, a little 12-footer on the baseline. She's got 11. 59-45, right back at him, Alexander. Nobody stopped basketball, and she made him pay. 59-47. Approaching 15 and a half minutes to play in this game. Lead is down to 12. Lead was 16 at halftime. Bowens to Meyer, firing a 3, bounced up, hit the backboard, and then dropped in. Caitlin Meyer, the junior, first points of the game, and a deflection by KCU. It'll stay with OCU. Here comes Allie Sloan for the Lady Knights. Here comes Sharonda Jones. Sarah Bechtel and Asia Woodson going to check in for OCU. Marshall going to sit down. Stevens going to sit down for the Lady Knights, and looks like it is Rucker and Tasia Smith that will sit down for the home team. Inbound to Olivia Davis, 15-point advantage. Right side, it's Woodson. Back over to Bechtel. Left baseline, Alexander. Got the step, tried a runner that is still bouncing inbounds and eventually went out of bounds. And Alexander thought that she was fouled, or at the very least it went off a KCU, but again, the U2 Jim Vastine didn't see it that way. 62-47, we go under 15 minutes to play in this game. Tuesday Night Hoops presented by Swoyer and Associates Insurance Agency and the Westfield Insurance Group. Good ball movement again by the Lady Knights. Into the lane, Bowen setting up Jones. Baseline jumper no good, but Sharonda got a hand on the rebound and kept it alive. A fresh 30 for KCU. Meyer to Sloan, left baseline click, nice pass underneath to Jones, who lost her balance and shot an air ball. And I don't know if Ron Arnett's upset with Jones or the men in stripes. It's Jones that he's given a long stare to, but there was some contact that knocked Jones off balance. Nothing was called. 14-19 to play, 62-47. Jones working, trying to slow down Davis. Matt Futch begging for the NBA continuation on that one. He's not going to get it, but it is a foul on Sharonda Jones. It's her third and the team third. Here comes Sarah Sunday. Sunday back with 4 points. Maritza Will sits down with a half dozen. 62-47 inbound to Alexander on the right side. Top of the key, Bechtel open for three. On the rim, no good. Sunday had a hand on the basketball, and they're going to call a loose ball foul, and that is exactly one of those fouls that they called because of her size. There is not an over and back call if she doesn't make contact, and she was so much bigger than Sharonda Jones. Folks, there wasn't any contact there. That's a bad call that the referee assumed there had to be contact. Right baseline, it's Glick. Back out to Sloan, top of the key, Meyer, left side, Bowens. Into the lane, Sunday played good defense, grabbed the rebound. Woodson looking to run. Woodson into the lane, threw it up at the rim, no. Got her own rebound, put it up in, the bucket is good, and she was fouled. Foul is going to be charged to Allie Sloan. It's her first, team fourth. Asia Woodson with points 7 and 8. She'll look for 9 with one more. Here comes Marshall. Here comes Stevens. Jones and Sloan sit down. Sunday's going to sit down as Bechtel, I think, is back in. Davis is in as well. You know, one of the misconceptions a lot of fans have about basketball is if you shoot an air ball, which it looked like Asia Woodson did there, that you're not allowed to go get your own rebound, that somebody else has to touch it. And that is not true. As long as the referee determines that you were taking a legitimate shot at the rim, it doesn't have to hit the rim. You can go get it yourself. Asia Woodson did, and put it in, and she was fouled. It's now a 62-50 game here early in the second half. I want to say some special hellos tonight to some folks up in Northeast Ohio. It's too cold to do anything up in Northeast Ohio, so everybody's sitting around tonight watching OCU basketball. Debbie Rydell over in Berea, Ohio. And Dan and Christine Boyle, Kevin Boyle, Courtney Boyle in Seven Hills, Ohio, hometown of John Demjaniuk. Google that name, but they are watching tonight in Seven Hills, Ohio as well, and we say hello to them, and hello to those of you listening or watching down in Grayson, Kentucky, and all over the Midwest here on the OCU Sports Network. We'll be back with you on Friday night when Johnson University out of Knoxville, Tennessee is in this building. Another Mid-East region game, 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. are the scheduled tip times in that one. 5:40 with the HER Realtors Dan and Donna Daly pregame show, so we hope you'll tune in to that game, those games as well. So KCU 9-6 overall, OCU 8-8. Ron Arnett, again, 66 years old, celebrated his birthday here on Saturday. Number 66 in his 23rd year as a head coach, and looking for his 15th national championship this season. Lady Knights did not win the title last year, were upset, or I guess it's not an upset when they were, the 3 seed last year, but beaten badly in that national semifinal game, a 20-point loss to number 2 Manhattan that ended up playing for the national championship and was beat by Clayton Morrison and Maranatha. So second national championship for Clayton Morrison and that team. They were here this weekend. 62-50, 13:35 to play. Bowens to Caitlin Meyer. Meyer to the right side. This is Glick on the baseline. Double team, got it out of her hands quickly. To Bowens quickly on that left side. Back to Meyer, firing a three, in and out. Rebound, Tiaja Smith. Smith to the left side and Asia Woodson. Woodson into the lane. Her runner spun around the rim, no good, and a rebound to Jessica Marshall. Lady Trailblazers could have got within 10. Marshall on the baseline. Underneath to Stevens. Nice step through. Did she walk? I don't know. It was close, but a nice step through either way by Stevens. She's got a half dozen. 64-50. Woodson into the lane. Put it up and in. Matt Futch begging for that one to drop in. Was jumping in his coacher's box on the OCU sideline. 64-52. Meyer underneath to Glick, and a jump ball is going to be called, and the possession arrow is going to give it to OCU. So good effort there by Tiaja Smith, who went to the floor and forced the tie-up. Will check in during this stoppage. Asia Woodson sits down with 11 points. Here comes Paige Warren, who was some instant offense in that first half. Made a free throw and a three. 4 points in limited minutes. Bowens will sit down with 25. 64-52, 12:30 to play. Left side, Tiaja Smith. Alexander, Smith, back to Alexander on the right side. Back to Smith, underneath to Will. Against Stevens, tough shot, didn't get there. Davis got a hand on it. Ball on the floor, Davis had a hand on it. They're gonna say it was out of bounds off of Davis. And it'll go back to KCU. Here comes Asia Woodson, who has been playing with 3 fouls for much of the last, 14, 15, 16 minutes of game time. And Davis slapped that one out of bounds as Marshall tried to bring it in. OCU with some full court, almost looks like a diamond press here with 3 up front in the shape of a diamond and 2 in the back. They get it to Warren, who breaks the pressure. Remember, there is a 10-second violation in the women's game now, and what? Timeout Ron Arnett as Paige Warren was in some trouble, had picked up her dribble and was trying to fight her way through the middle of an OCU double team, and Ron Arnett, sensing that, called a timeout from the KCU sideline. Rax is a proud supporter of OCU Athletics, located just south of Circleville on US 23. Be sure to try a delicious regular Rax, stacked high with thinly sliced tender roast beef. I'd rather Rax, wouldn't you? Today's game is also brought to you by Pizza Cottage, the official pizza of OCU Athletics. Stop by after the game and enjoy award-winning pizza, subs, salads, wings, and spaghetti. Pizza Cottage, 23401 State Route 23 in Circleville. Call 740-474-3620. We'll have an abbreviated Christian Healthcare Ministries post-game show after the game, and then we'll immediately shift gears and get you ready for the second game in our doubleheader between the OCU and the KCU men. 64-52, KCU men at 1-10 right now, and they're going to get a hold on Sarah Bechtel, who tried to take it away from Jana Glick. And that was the right call. Bechtel doesn't like it, but she had a chunk of arm. It's her second, team 4th. But 1-10 or 10-1, it doesn't matter. You put the records aside when it's OCU and KCU, and there isn't a program in America that plays harder than Ron Reed's bunch. Underneath, threw it over the head. Meyer tried to get it to Stevens, and that was not a good idea. There was way too much congestion. Even if the pass was placed perfectly, I'm not sure it still would have got there. 64-52. Bowens pops off Ron Arnett's bench. She'll come in at the next dead ball. Alexander to the left side, and Smith. Here's Woodson for 3. Came up short. Will an offensive rebound, but her putback hit the side of the backboard. The rebound, KCU. Warren picked up her dribble again. She's in trouble again and gets it to Glick. Glick to Meyer, who had it slapped loose from behind. Taken away by Smith. Here's Woodson into the lane, put it up, the bucket is good, and she was fouled. Put it in attack mode, did Asia Woodson, took it right at the smaller, inexperienced freshman Paige Warren, who really had no choice where she was positioned, the way that Woodson barreled right into her. She was going to pick up a block. 13 in the game for Woodson. First foul on Paige Warren, number 5 on KCU. And Asia Woodson with an opportunity to get this to single digits, and she does. 14 for Woodson, 10 of 15 are the Trailblazers for 67% at the line. 64-55, under 11 minutes. Stevens had her shot blocked. Trailblazers looking to run. It's Woodson and Warren again, and Woodson scores again. 16 for Asia Woodson, 64-57. Bowens dribbled it off her foot out of bounds, and Ron Arnett says, I need a timeout. 10:27 to play in the game. It is a full timeout. And Ron Arnett letting the National Player of the Year have it on the KCU bench. 10:27 to play. 64-57 KCU. It's Tuesday Night Hoops presented by Zwoyer and Associates Insurance Agency here on the OCU Sports Network.
Ohio Christian University offers accredited, career-focused undergraduate and graduate degree programs for busy adults. Classes are convenient, offered online or evenings and weekends at our 12 locations. OCU will prepare you for your next step and help you discover your higher purpose.
We invite you to attend Ohio Christian University.
Tuesday Night Hoops presented by Zwoyer and Associates Insurance Agency and the Westfield Insurance Group. They're the official insurance agents of OCU Athletics. 64-57, a bucket here would be enormous, and Woodson nearly put it in. Rebound, Jessica Marshall. Woodson late getting down the floor. It's a 5-on-4 advantage if KCU wants to take advantage. Now everybody back in full strength. Right side, Marshall's three is right there. I still think OCU was in a little bit of transition, a state of transition, uncertainty with Woodson just getting back to her spot, and Brittany Rucker answers with three of her own. 67-60, lead is 7, 9:40 to play in the game. Marshall right side off a screen from Monica Stevens. This is Bowens off a screen, spins over Rucker, put it on the rim, bounces around. Bowens had it, and it tapped loose by Asia Woodson. 67-60. Underneath, it's Davis against Stevens. Don't call an offensive foul. That's a bad call. Jim Vastine, or whatever your name is, Andy Godwin, you took the bait, my friend. That is a bad, bad call. Olivia Davis, her second, team 5th. First of all, she tried to avoid the contact. Number 2, the defender was moving her feet. And number 3, the contact was minimal. Anderson Varejao like right there. Where's the NBA rule where we're giving tees for flopping? 67-60, 9:05 to play in the game. That is a bad call. That kind of slows the momentum. Offensive foul, and maybe that's a makeup by Jim Vastine as Monica Stevens and Olivia Davis were banging underneath. And I don't like that call either. But if anything else, it kind of evens things out. Stevens has just picked up her 4th, though. So a big, big call, but all Stevens was doing underneath the basket there was banging for position with Olivia Davis. And my friends, we call it like it is. So anybody, anywhere, wherever you're watching, whoever you're rooting for, we are as unbiased as they come. They should have let him play there. Rutgers 3, no good. Davis runs down the offensive rebound. Back out to Woodson. Woodson into the lane, put it up and in. Stevens had to be careful. She couldn't go after the shot of Woodson. She's playing with 4 fouls. And Woodson took it right at her, took it right over her, and this is a 5-point game. Lead was 15 at halftime. Stevens out to Jones, one dribble, back to Stevens who dropped it in. Nice two-man game with the 4 and the 5, Stevens and Jones. Woodson back at the other end, no good. Marshall used those long arms to grab the rebound. Bowens to Jones. Showed jumper into the lane. Bucket is good, and the blocking foul on Maritza Will. Foul on Will is her fourth, so she's the first OCU player to hit 4 fouls with 8:07 to play. Alexander, Smith, Woodson, and Sunday all have 3 apiece. Bucket for Sharonda Jones is points 13 and 14, and KCU with free throw number 26 of the game coming up here. And Will sit down with 8:07 to play in this game. 71-62, Sharonda Jones, as we said, second year with is up and in. Jones with 15. Second year with KCU. And I take that back. I gave you a bad statement earlier about Sharonda Jones as Rucker fires a 3. Rebound, Allie Sloan. She has not won a national championship. Ball, good effort there by Woodson, but she could not keep it in play. Jones played 2 years here at OCU and is now in her second year at KCU and in the hunt, like these Trailblazers, for her first ever national championship is Sharonda Jones. 72-62, 7:45 to play. Sloan right side, the true freshman out of Ashland, Kentucky. Paul Blazer High School. Good post move there by Jones, but she could not finish against the bigger Sunday. Alexander to the rim, no, but she was fouled. Stevens has sat down with those 2 fouls, by the way. Foul here is going to be charged, I believe, to 32. Jara Epling, who has checked in, the sophomore from Worthington, Kentucky, and an opportunity for Alexander and OCU to get this thing back within single digits. And the first free throw is up and in. OCU has had trouble getting attempts at the free throw line of late. I think they had a game over the weekend where they did not get, maybe it was the John Carroll game, not a single attempt. Then had a game over the weekend where they went 3 of 4 from the charity stripe, but getting the attempts tonight, now 12 of 17. KCU has 26 attempts. Bowens lost it and then was tripped to the floor. And Tanya Bowens and Asia Woodson exchanging pleasantries, and Sarah Bechtel was kind of in the middle of it as well, and we'll see what they call this on. I'm not sure if they called it on Woodson or Bowens or possibly both. So this is one of those instances, JT, where I'd like to be down at the table, but I got this nice vantage point. We're going to get an explanation from Jim Vastine. And so Ron Arnett just found out that the technical foul is on Tanya Bowens, and Ron Arnett better be very careful. He's going to get a technical foul. What they just found out is the blocking foul is on Woodson, which I'm not sure that's the right call. I think the block was actually on Sarah Bechtel, and now Jim Vastine going to talk it over with the lead referee, Tim Carr. I don't think they have the right Trailblazer, and now let's see if they correct that. They're going to bring Ron Arnett and Matt Futch to the table as Brittany Rucker shoots the 2 free throws. And the first free throw is up and in for Brittany Rucker. I'd love to have be a fly on the wall down there at midcourt. I can't hear exactly what Vastine is telling him. I did hear him say that there may have been a mistake there, but I think they got the wrong Trailblazer, and that's a big wrong, as it's number 4 on Asia Woodson. It's number 6 on the team. The technical on Bowens counts as a personal and a team foul as well. So now we go to the other end, and Tanya Bowens will shoot the 1-and-1. And now Jim Vastine making sure everybody's ready at press row, but it still does look like that is going to be number 4 on Asia Woodson. It sure looked like Bowens and Bechtel were the 2 that collided. Bowens went to the ground, and Bechtel was kind of standing over her. Whether it was intentional or not, I've got no idea. They exchanged pleasantries a little bit. Woodson got in the way, and something happened to the point that they called the technical foul on the KCU senior point guard, 72-66. We'll see if the momentum stays in the hands of the Trailblazers. They trail by 6 with the basketball. Woodson, a dangerous pass to Will as she left her feet. Back out to Woodson, and she threw it behind Rucker. It's an over and backer. It goes out of bounds before it was touched. It's a turnover back to KCU, and Bowens will inbound right in front of the press row here at midcourt. 72-66. That is an opportunity where you'd love to at least get a shot. You're down by 6 with 7:15 to play. The National Player of the Year just got teed up. This place is looking to make some noise, and instead it's Bowens that had an opportunity to extend, and she can't finish. It's a 4-on-3 break. Bechtel to fire a 3 on the rim, no good, and Marshall again with those long arms grabs the defensive rebound. She averages 5 boards a game. Does Jessica Marshall. Bowens off a screen to the baseline, and Epling, who is usually in there for 3-point shooting. Underneath, Jones working against Will, who's playing with 4 fouls. Will has got to be careful. Underneath, Jones. Backing down Will. Went by her, put it up, no. And that's going to be number 5 on Maritza Will. And if that's... Good gracious, that's a bad call, too. Let him play, Tim Carr. And that's not even his call. The call was going to be made if somebody's going to call that contact underneath. Andy Godwin is the 3rd referee that's working the baseline. That's in charge of watching the contact underneath. Maritza Will playing carefully, trying to stay in the game, moving her feet, has her hands in the air. And she's going to leave the basketball game with that, 72-66. And I don't care if it's the black, the white team, who's got the basketball, which team, it's a bad call. 72-66, Jones misses the first free throw. One more for Sharonda, bends the knees and hits. Jones splits a pair. 16 for Sharonda Jones, 73-66. As we near 6 minutes to play, tempers, the emotion beginning to come out a little bit. Even in the play-by-play announcer, Alexander got the step and she dropped it in. 14 for Shekinah Alexander. Bowens down the lane, dropped it off to Stevens. Not Stevens could have shot that basketball, never really looked at the rim. Jones. Stevens working against Davis. Jones into the lane, and Davis took it right out of her hands. Woodson at the other end, into the lane, double pumped over Marshall and dropped it in. Asia Woodson with 20, 14 in the second half, and Ron Arnett wants another full timeout with 5:41 to play in the game. OCU within 3. It is Tuesday Night Hoops. It is presented exclusively by Zwoyer and Associates Insurance Agency and the Westfield Insurance Group. The team at Zwoyer and Associates Insurance Agency has been specializing in insurance services for auto, home, commercial, and life since 1871. To learn more, call 740-474-6023 or visit ZwoyerInsurance.com. First of 2 tonight, the 2 men's teams. The men's teams from these 2 schools will square off, and we're going to get underway a little bit late with that one, it sure looks like, as we are approaching, about 7:35 Eastern time already. Scheduled tip time for that game is 8 p.m. What we'll do after this game ends, we'll have an abbreviated Christian Healthcare Ministries post-game show. We'll put a headset on Matt Fudge, get a couple thoughts from him, look at the statistics quickly, and then we will immediately switch gears and get you ready for the HER Realtors pregame show for the second game of our doubleheader. We'll check in with Tony Stockman, the former Ohio State Buckeye guard and second-year head coach here at OCU, to get his thoughts on the matchup. We'll look at tonight's starting lineups and much more. OCU men have won 9 in a row against KCU, dating back to a game, 3 years ago on a January in Grayson when OCU led the entire game, and Blandon Juice Clemens rallied the Knights back. They hit a jumper at the buzzer, did Clemens, to win the game 61-59, and it's one of those games when you look at the stat sheet, you say, how in the world did OCU lose that game? It's kind of like my favorite football team, the New Orleans Saints. 25 first downs, Seattle with 13. They win every statistical category in the game, and yet they find a way to lose in Seattle. Anyway, 73-70, 5:30 to play in the game. Right baseline, Rucker underneath to Davis, kept it strong. Under to Smith, back to Davis. Beautiful two-man game with Olivia Davis. 73-72. This is a one-point game with 5:15 to play. Bowens against Alexander. Screen by Glick, nothing there. They double team Bowens, lost the basketball. Myers got it, 10 on the shot clock, 12-footer, nothing but net. She hasn't scored much tonight, but a big one there for Caitlin Meyer. 75-72, Trailblazers down 3. Alexander running the point here. Smith on the right wing, Woodson on the left wing. Now Woodson between the circles. Woodson working her way right side. Tough shot, missed everything. That's a tough shot from that angle. Didn't even hit the rim. Rebound KCU. Bowens into the lane, dropped it off to Glick. Little scoop shot, missed everything as well. Marshall a rebound. Shot clock should not have reset, and they do catch it. Tim Carr going to come over to the table and figure it out. It is at, and there's a little button that when you inadvertently hit a reset, you can go back and reset again. And that shot clock should have stayed at 21. I thought there was even more time than that, but instead of a fresh 30, it stays at 21. Brittany Rucker back in as Tiaja Smith will get a breather, probably to get ready for crunch time. 4:19 to play. Bowens against Alexander, spun into the lane, faded and put it in. Again, she looks so casual, so methodical. 27 for Tanya Bowens as she just very methodically makes her way to the rim and creates a little space with that 6-foot fadeaway. 77-72, under 4 minutes to play. Rucker lost it. And the ball slapped out of bounds by Bowens. It'll stay with OCU. That's not Rucker's job right now. I'll be the color commentator a minute. Her job is to spot and shoot. She's going to check out as Bechtel is in. Your job is to be there when players like Fox and Woodson and Alexander create space. Bechtel, the inbounder, for three. She put it in. She brought it in underneath the basket and then worked her way off a double screen to the top of the key. Sarah Bechtel with a half dozen. This is a 2-point game. 77-75, 3.5 to play. Bowens strikes again. 29 for Tanya Bowens, 19 in the first, 10 in the second. Alexander to the other end, and Monica Stevens is just fouled out of the game. Stevens is out with 3:26 to play, and KCU with a 79-75 advantage. It is number 9 on the Lady Knights, and that is just as significant as OCU will get 2 free throws on every KCU foul the rest of the way. Trailblazers have committed 8 fouls as a team, so one more 1-and-1 opportunity, and then it'll be 2 every time for the Lady Knights. Trailblazers here shooting free throws 20 and 21. First free throw for Alexander is up and in. And according to my numbers, now here we go, 15, I take that back. These are free throws 22 and 23. Shekinah Alexander with 15 points in this game. And this one would cut it to 2, and it comes up short. Rebound Jones, and a loose ball foul on Tiaja Smith, and Smith is out of the game with 3:25 to play. So players fouling out left and right. Smith is gone for OCU. Will is gone for OCU, and Stevens is gone for KCU. The good news, if you're a KCU fan, is nobody else really in foul trouble. Jones has 3 for OCU. Woodson is playing with 4. Sunday with 3. Alexander with 3. And the first free throw by Jones is no good. Free throws 31 and 32 for KCU. They are currently 16 of 31 for 52%, make it 17 of 32. As Jones hits a pair, give her 17. She has done most of her work tonight at the charity stripe. 4-point game. Davis setting up Rucker, firing a 3, and that's why Brittany Rucker is in the game. Get out on the right wing, get in that triple threat position, and let it fire. 80-79. 3 minutes to play exactly. Rick Cooper and the OCU Sports Network. It has been a good one. Bowens misses up close. And the jump ball called. Possession error will keep it here with KCU. And because there was a shot attempt, it is a fresh 30 for KCU. Marshall will inbound underneath the Lady Knights basket. Inbound to Bowens, who was a little bit too casual about the way she tried to catch that one as she was being pressured by Alexander, and was fortunate it went off of Alexander. Marshall in a tough spot in the corner, gets it into Bowens. Guarded by Alexander, fights her way through a Jones screen. And there's an illegal screen on Bowens. And let's see, I think Ron Arnett may be pulling Bowens out of this game. We'll see. He is not happy with the 4-time All-American, or 3-time All-American right now, Tanya Bowens, as I didn't really see what she did to see how poor of a decision it was, but it's her third foul. It's number 10 on the team. No free throws, however, on the player control. Right side, it's Alexander. Alexander, a little crossover against Sloan, setting up Bechtel for 3 on the rim. No, that would have given OCU the lead, and Bechtel probably hits 8 out of 10 on those shots right there. She doesn't miss very many of those open threes. 1-point game. The number 1 team in America, KCU, has only lost 6 times in the regular season against NCCAA 2 schools in the 23-year Ron Arnett era. Shot clock in single digits, down to 5. Marshall against Rucker, and she gets fouled with like 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Rucker guilty of a block, and Marshall gonna shoot 2. Fouling Brittany Rucker, her second, 9th on OCU. Marshall, 92% free throw shooter, and she missed. Had only shot 13 attempts coming in, but it made 12 of 13. Rucker is out, Fox is in, so Matt Funch leaning on some players that don't regularly get minutes at crunch time, with Tiaja Smith and Maritza Will down with fouls on the OCU bench. Alexander for a huge 3, and she hit it! OCU with their first lead of this game. It's 82-81. $1:38 to play in the game. It was 15 at halftime. 51-35. They have held KCU to just 30 points here in the second half, and Alexander really getting after it defensively. Getting a little bit too much after it. Picked up her 4th foul. It is number 10 on the team, and so Tanya Bowens, 94% coming into tonight, and she missed. So they can shoot free throws, but these are big ones right here, and Bowens does hit the second. Tanya Bowens with 30 points in this game ties the game at 82 apiece. Minute 31 to play. Wow, what a basketball game. We expected a good one, and it has delivered. JT, it must be something about us coming here. Kuiper and OCU on Friday night was absolutely fantastic. And I tell you what, there are 3 ranked teams here tonight. The only team that is not ranked are Ron Reed's Knights, and you would say, hey, let's not watch the second game. It's going to be a blowout. Every time KCU and OCU have played, even though OCU head and shoulders better in talent, they have been very, very good basketball games, and a lot of that just stems from the effort that KCU team brings when they come out onto the floor. So basically my message to you is don't you go anywhere. The second game tonight is going to be fantastic as well. It is Tuesday Night Hoops. It is presented exclusively by Swoyer and Associates Insurance Agency and the Westfield Insurance Group. Swoyer and Associates Insurance Agency in Circleville provides quality protection, superior customer service, and the lowest insurance rates with coverages tailored to your specific needs. Swoyer and Associates Insurance Agency is the official insurance agency of Ohio Christian University Athletics. $1:31 to play. Tied at 82. Alexander, Davis, Woodson, Fox, and Bechtel. Sloan is out there with Bowens, again with Jones, Marshall, and Glick. KCU in a 2-3 zone. Woodson, right side, tough shot, nearly put it in. Jones a rebound, and they're going to call her for an elbow. And I'm not sure whether she hit Asia Woodson or whether Woodson is going to be on the Bold and the Beautiful tomorrow with some of that acting. But either way, Jones with a big smile on her face. And you know what? Again, it's like blocking a shot and taking a big swing. Even if you get all basketball, they're gonna call you for a foul sometimes. And Jones swung those elbows. And whether or not she made contact was maybe irrelevant, as Asia Woodson did a fantastic job selling it. Alexander the left side, and Fox, fresh 30 for OCU. Shot clock down to 20 right now, and we are at exactly a minute to play. Trailblazers would love to hold it here a little bit and try to get a 2-for-1. Alexander's shot is no good, and it falls into the hands of Jana Glick. About a 24-second differential between the game clock that you see on the screen and the shot clock. 40 seconds to play in the game. Shot clock at 15. Marshall, left side, their money man, Bowens off a screen, 15-footer, bingo! Tanya Bowens with 32. Half minute left. It's a 2-point KCU lead, and Woodson went into the lane, but before she shot the basketball, Matt Futch elected to call a full timeout. We'll keep it right here with 27.9 seconds left to play. The OCU men across the way here. President Mark Smith standing. Is there a bigger fan of NCCAA basketball, and in particular his school, than President Mark Smith? Boy, does he love OCU athletics. KCU men over there, eager to get onto the floor. They've got two freshmen, does Ron Reed, that are combining to average some 38 points per game. Eager to see Farley and friends play. Talking about Caleb Ford and Tyler Farley, and of course Dylan Janung back, the East Carter product, as the KCU point guard, and should be a good one tonight. And at halftime of that game tonight, we'll have a special interview that we recorded a couple weeks back with Clark Kellogg, the former Ohio State great, arguably the greatest high school player to ever come out of the city of Cleveland. Played at St. Joe's High School, same high school that produced Elvis Gerbach, Desmond Howard, Treg Lee, for you Buckeye fans. A lot of good players that have come out of that school, but Clark Kellogg still has the state record for most points in a state tournament game. I think he dropped 52 was the, don't hold me to that, 52 or 55 when St. Joe's lost to Columbus South in his senior year. 84-82, OCU with it. Left side, it's Fox. Fox being hounded by Bowens. Back out to Woodson. About a 3-second differential between shot clock and game clock. KCU in a 2-3 zone. Alexander into the lane, and her shot was blocked, and Ron Arnett doesn't like the call. It's going to be charged to Marshall. It's going to be her third, a team over the 10-foul limit, and Alexander, in the act of shooting, will get two enormous free throws here with 14.2 seconds left. She is a 69% free throw shooter. First one is up and in. According to our unofficial statistics, free throws 26 and 27. This one would tie it at 84. Alexander bends the knees and hits again. Must have ice in those veins. Some big free throws at crunch time. 14.2 left. Matt Futch has called a timeout, a 30-second timeout. So we'll keep it here. The scenario is simple. 14.2. The shot clock is off. KCU going to hold it for one shot, you would think. If they don't, it's not what Ron Arnett drew up. I can promise you that. Both teams over the limit, both of them over the 10-foul limit. So any fouls besides player control fouls in this final 14.2 are going to lead to two free throws at the charity stripe. Ron Arnett talking a lot right now to Sharonda Jones out there as he sets up the final play. KCU will have to do it by going the length of the floor And the Trailblazers, you've got to wonder if they're going to play half court. No, they're going full court, man-to-man. 14.2 seconds left. Tied at 84. They inbound to Bowens. Bowens will jog it up the floor. Let's see if they can force it out of her hands. Fox going to try to come over. Bowens working against Alexander. Down to 5, down to 4. Glick with 2, Glick with 1. Bowens to win it on the rim. We're going to overtime. Boy, did Bowens get a good look on the left side. If you're Matt Futch and you're drawing that up, once she gets the basketball out of her hands to Glick, the last thing you want to do is see her get it again. You'd love to have seen him deny it. She caught it, and well, I was nervous at that point. You think Bowens, she's not going to miss very many of those at crunch time. Got a good look from 17 feet on the left wing that would have won it, and 5 minutes of extra basketball. Nobody talking right now on the KCU sidelines. Matt Futch doing all kinds of coaching on the OCU sidelines. You can see him on your monitor. And take a look over there if you can on the KCU sideline. Now Arnett coaching a little bit, but there was almost a 60-second, 90-second period in there where he was kind of just staring at the troops. So Bowens had a shot to win it at the end of regulation from about 17. Must have put it up with about a second and a half left. It would have been a buzzer beater to win it, but it comes up a little bit short, and 5 minutes of bonus basketball. So I told you about 25 minutes ago the men's game was going to start late. I didn't know we were playing 5 minutes of OT. My wife's going to kill me. I've got my son with me that wakes up at 6:15 for school. Not what the doctor ordered and not what mama wants, but 84-84. Bonus basketball here in the Maxwell Leadership Center. These two teams went into overtime last year as well, as OCU beat KCU 72-68 in a game here in this building on the 5th of February. So we have had some overtime thrillers. Alexander for 3, no good. Davis a rebound. Remember, Monica Stevens out of this game. Here's Bechtel for 3, no good. Good effort by Bechtel to keep it alive, but it ends up in the hands of a Lady Knight. Bowens really Stevens rather, really the enforcer on this team. We'll see if Jones can pick up the slack. Jones into the lane, her little step through came up short, and the rebound Olivia Davis. Maritza Will, Tiasia Smith out for OCU. Smith fouled out at 3:27. Will went down at the 8:07 mark. Stevens fouled out with 3:26 to play when KCU led by 4. Into the lane, Woodson, she is done. Offensive foul. And Sharonda Jones just drew the foul on the OCU All-American. So she is done with 4:13 to play in overtime. Tied at 84. And that may be the biggest blow for either of these teams, as OCU's leading scorer now goes to the bench. Allie Sloan in for KCU as Sharonda Jones sits down. Jones a little bit shaken up after she drew that charge, grimacing as she kind of holds her lower back, but looks like she's okay now as Bowens, little 6-footer, no good, and a good rebound by Davis. Bowens slapped it away and she steals the ball. Left side Meyer, guarded by Davis. Shekinah Alexander going to have to play big minutes here as she has in this second half. She is really the one that's going to make this team go with the personnel on the court. Underneath Glick, try to left-handed pass. That's not what the doctor ordered. Alexander to the other end. That's an intentional foul. Futch wants it as Bowens made a play on the ball, but also hit Alexander on the head. And Andy Godwin going to say, no, common foul here, nothing intentional. She did make a play on the basketball, but there can still be a flagrant foul, even if it wasn't an intentional foul. A couple free throws for Alexander. The first one is up and in, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to hurt anybody, but if you're too aggressive with a block attempt and you pound somebody on the head, they can still call it 2 in the ball. Second free throw is no good. Davis, an offensive rebound and a fresh 30. That's where they lack Monica Stevens, and with Sharonda Jones on the bench, it's compounded even more. 85-84. 3:20 to play in the game. OCU by 1. Shot clock at 13. Alexander hands it off to Fox. Lady Knights in that 2-3 zone again. Left side Rucker, top of the key Bechtel, found some space, no good. Davis, another offensive rebound. Rucker lost it. Davis saved it, and it ends up in the hands of Sloan. Meyer to the other end. She missed the bunny. Bowens, an offensive rebound. 15-footer. Sloan spins out, and what? A jump ball, and the possession arrow is going to keep it with KCU. Fans don't like the call. I'm not sure there was a foul in there, but at the same time, I'm not sure that the referees couldn't have just let him play him in. It looked like the basketball was going to come loose. Looked like the jump ball call may have been just a little bit quick. 85-84, 2:48 to play in the overtime, the first overtime. Rick Cooper, JT Burcham, and the OCU Sports Network. We expected a good one. We had overtime last year in this building, and it's overtime in the regular season meeting here again. Shot clock at 10. Allie Sloan, the freshman from Ashland, looking to get it to somebody. Finds Meyer, hands it off to Bowens. Got the step. Davis came up and helped nicely, and Davis got a rebound, a jump ball, and it's going to go to OCU. Boy, did Olivia Davis step up big time there. Bowens, after the handoff on the perimeter, found herself looking at a wide open 15-footer, and Davis kind of came out of nowhere and helped after that little screen on the handoff and forced the miss from Tanya Bowens. Fox for a huge three, missed everything. Davis a rebound, and she was fouled and will shoot two. Ron Arnett's got to get Sharonda Jones in this game. He's working his way down the bench. Olivia Davis is killing the KCU front line right now. They have no answer for the OCU sophomore. The foul is going to be charged on Jessica Marshall. It's her fourth. Davis to the line for two. The first one is too strong. Olivia Davis has got 5 offensive rebounds in the last 2.5 minutes. They have had no answer for her, and we'll see if Jones can shut her down. Part of the problem sometimes is when you go to a 2-3 zone and you're accustomed to playing man-to-man, and Davis misses a pair. A lot of times you don't box out when you get back in that 2-3 zone. You think you're in zone and it turns into a jumping contest, and you kind of just stay in your vicinity and hope the basketball comes your way. And the reality is, I don't care whether you're playing zone or man, you got to find somebody and put a butt in the gut. And so that'll be the other issue. Ron Arnett has answered the issue, at least to some degree, by bringing Sharonda Jones back into the game. The other question will be, will he stay in that zone? And what's unique about the zone right now is he doesn't have Tanya Bowens at the top of it. He had Meyer and somebody else. Who was the other one? Maybe Sloan out there. He actually had Tanya Bowens on a baseline, and if you're OCU, you love having her on one side of the floor sitting in a zone. And if I'm Matt Futch and they stay in that zone, I'm going to the other side of the floor and going to try to attack everybody but Tanya Bowens. 85-84, Trailblazers lead is 1. It'll be Olivia Davis, Sarah Bechtel, Abby Fox, Shekinah Alexander, and Brittany Rucker, one senior. And all juniors, right? Abby Fox a sophomore, but Alexander a junior, Bechtel a junior, Fox a sophomore, Rucker a senior, and Davis a sophomore out there. It's Sloan, the freshman, Bowens, the senior, Meyer, the junior, Jana Glick out there, the junior, and Sharonda Jones, the OCU transfer, who's a senior. Bowens, right baseline, Meyer for three, in and out, rebound Bechtel. I think OCU was in a 2-3 zone there themselves. Some full court pressure, broken with the dribble of Alexander. Right side Rucker, back to Alexander. Lead is 1, 19 on the shot clock, $1:30 to play in the game. Ohio Christian 85, Kentucky Christian 84. We are in overtime. Shot clock down to 9. Rucker off a screen, just hit a three. Brittany Rucker, how do you do? 88-84. Ron Arnett not going to call a timeout here. Minute 10 to play. 2-possession game. Bowen spins into the lane. Little turnaround. It came up short. Rebound Alexander to Davis. Davis going to get it across the timeline. No hurry here. Shot clock, game clock, all of it is your friend. 20 on the clock, 52 to play in the game. Ron Arnett telling him, let's come out, let's extend. Forget the 2-3 zone. Alexander into the lane. Alexander got the step and put it in. She beat Bowens, who was interested in slapping it loose from behind, and she beat the resistance underneath as well. Jones answers with 2 of her own. 19 for Sharonda Jones. Ron Arnett immediately calls a timeout. It's 90-86 OCU. With 36.3 seconds left. Alexander, probably her 2 easiest points of the night. You almost sense that Bowens wanted her to get around her so that she could take a swing at the basketball from behind. And then if you're Bowens, you're expecting your help underneath the rim to come out and provide some assistance. And a little stop and start by Shekinah Alexander, and she went right to the rim past them. So Shekinah Alexander has 16 here in the second half and overtime. She has been the reason that OCU is going to win this game. Her defense on Bowens has been stifling, and with the foul outs to Tiaja Smith, Asia Woodson, and Maritza Will, there just isn't a lot of firepower out there right now. There's some shooters, but those shooters need some assistance, and Shekinah Alexander not only has scored, but she's taking advantage of the dribble drive and has set up the Bechtels and Rutgers on this team for some big, big shots. 36.3 seconds left, 90-86. Davis will inbound. She can run the baseline. Remember, there is a 10-second violation in women's basketball, a new rule this year. 10 seconds to get it across. 36.3 left. They inbound to Alexander, who picks up her dribble in a double team, and boy, is she fortunate to get out of that double team alive. Davis will inbound right in front of some fans in the front row, still behind the timeline. Davis looking, back to Bechtel. Bechtel against Meyer, and she is fouled with 30.5 seconds left. It's only number 2 on Caitlin Meyer. Team well over the 10-foul limit. And so we will walk to the other end, and Sarah Bechtel, according to my numbers, has not made a free throw the entire season. So not sure if Ron Arnett and the Lady Knights knew that or not, but that is a ideal person to get at the line. The first one is no good. So Bowens right back in as Myers sits down. One more for the junior from Worthington Kilbourne High School. Bends the knees and fires. She hits. Sarah Bechtel with 7. Splits a pair. 91-86, under a half minute to play. KCU needs points. They need them now, and Bowens gets a quick 2. She's got 34. Inbound to Alexander, who gets up the floor, and a foul near midcourt before she could drop it off to Rucker, who was going to attack the rim and try to lay it in. And if it's on Sharonda Jones, she is done with 19.9 seconds left, and that is going to be the call. I have called these games a lot of years. We have never had somebody foul out, as many players foul out as we have had tonight. 91-88 OCU. 2 coming up here for Alexander. 69%, and the first one pinballs around and drops out. Shekinah with 23. It's a 1-possession game right now. This one is enormous. Alexander with 16 here in the second half and overtime. Bends the knees again and hits, so she splits a pair, and that's the one that matters. 18 seconds left. Bowens going to try to get another quick one, and she does. 36 for Bowens. Inbound to Davis. Davis looking for somebody, finds Alexander. They try to foul her, and they finally do with 8.5 left. So Ron Arnett and the Lady Knights doing a good job of extending this game. It's number 3 on Meyer, and Alexander will need 2 here to make this a 2-possession game. 1, and the Lady Knights should have a chance at the other end. Free throws 38 and 39 for OCU. Running out of room, and the first one is no good. So barring an offensive rebound by the home team, the Trailblazers, KCU should have an opportunity. We'll see if Matt Futch tries to foul and not let a three go up. I don't think he will. Alexander bends the knees and hits again. So she splits a pair. It's a three-point game with 6 seconds left. 5. Bowens looking for somebody with 3. Bowens to fire a 3 on the rim, and it comes up short. And OCU has won in overtime on their home floor for the second consecutive year. It is only the 7th NCCAA Division II regular season loss in the 23-year Ron Arnett era. What did we have? 5 different players foul out of this game. Tiaja Smith, Asia Woodson, Maritza Will, Monica Stevens, and Sharonda Jones. And it was Shekinah Alexander, 25 tonight, including 18 in the second half in overtime, and OCU able to pull it out by the final of 93-90. We'll take a break, a quick post-game show brought to you by Christian Healthcare Ministries. Coming up after this timeout, the Trailblazers a winner, and you watched it here on the OCU Sports Network.
When it comes to choosing a school, parents who want the best education for their students look for academic excellence, skilled teachers, a safe school that encourages their values. Students want a school with competitive athletics, unique opportunities, and friendships that last a lifetime. Fairfield Christian Academy, the place where parents and students agree. Enrolling now at fairfieldchristianacademy.com.
Back here at the Maxwell Leadership Center, that was a quick break, and back here to wrap things up on the Christian Healthcare Ministries post-game show, trying to add up all these fouls. I need Aristotle or Dan Boyle back in Seven Hills, Ohio, to help me. 36 free throws tonight, shot by KCU, and 39 by OCU. It was Shekinah Alexander that led the Trailblazers tonight with 25. This is the Christian Healthcare Ministries post-game show. Today's post-game show brought to you exclusively by Christian Healthcare Ministries, serving Christians for 33 years. They are the original health cost-sharing ministry, serving thousands of Christians nationwide and hundreds of missionaries in other countries. You can learn more right now by visiting chministries.org. And what we're going to do right now for the sake of time is just give you scoring numbers here on the Christian Healthcare Ministries post-game show. It was Shekinah Alexander that led the way for OCU with 25. Asia Woodson added 20. Brittany Rucker with 11 huge points off the bench, all of them in the second half and overtime. They were the 3 Trailblazers in double digits. 8 tonight for Maddie Joseph. Obviously our thoughts and prayers with that young lady who went down early in this game with a knee injury. Sarah Bechtel with 7. Maritza Will added 4. Tiaja Smith had 5 before she fouled out. Who else? Sarah Sunday had 4 tonight. And I think that's it. Olivia Davis had 6 as well. All of them came in the second half in the overtime. But 3 Trailblazers in double digits, and it was Shekinah Alexander not only scoring but distributing and playing pretty good defense, about as well as you can, on Tanya Bowens, the senior from Louisa, Kentucky, and they did enough to win. They won the overtime 9-6. They won the game 93-90. Tanya Bowens, the KCU All-American, at 36. Sharonda Jones had 19 before she fouled out. Jana Glick, double digits with 11. They were the 3 Lady Knights in double figures. 8 tonight for Monica Stevens, 7 for Jessica Marshall, 5 for Caitlin Meyer, 4 for Paige Warren. And according to our numbers, KCU 24 of 36 for 67%. And according to our very unofficial numbers, OCU 21 of 39 from the charity stripe for 54%. The Lady Knights led by 16, not 15. I said 16 earlier, 15 earlier. 51-35 was our score at halftime. OCU outscored them by 16 in the second half to tie the game at 84. And again, the Trailblazers won the extra 5-minute session 9-6. And they win tonight by the final of 93-90 in overtime in what is one of the best meetings in this rivalry between these two schools. OCU had dropped 8 out of the last 9 to KCU in this series, and they win this one today, snapping a 9-game win streak against NCCA Division II schools by KCU. Of course, that program had some 84-game win streak back in the mid-90s, and they're going to have to start back with a goose egg after this one tonight. And Coach Matt Futch going to come up and talk a little bit of hoops with us. And Coach, I'm sweating up here. I need that towel too. Big win for this basketball program. And Coach, first of all, just your initial thoughts. What's going through your mind right now? How were you able to win that second half by 16 and then win the overtime as well?
Well, we got down in that hole. Because same thing I'm stressing every day. We got to be disciplined. And we put them in the bonus, the double bonus, that is, with 9 minutes to go in the first half.
You talked about it in the pregame. You were prophetic. I mean.
Exactly. And we showed some signs early on in the game that I knew we wasn't out of it, and we just had some unbelievable belief and confidence to get it done.
And you had some players that had to step up because of all the foul trouble, Coach. You've got Brittany Rucker, you've got Abby Fox, you've got some players that we don't typically see at crunch time that had to step up, and they did.
Yeah, well, that's where this weekend helped us. We had a lot of some of those players that didn't play a lot or didn't play a lot of consistent big minutes, really play a lot, last couple games, and they kind of gave them some game rep, and they stepped up big. I mean, Abby did a great job guarding the ball. I thought we had a disadvantage a little bit with Brittany coming out on some screens and having to switch out of some quicker players, so Abby came in and really stepped up.
How much zone did KCU play? It looked like late in that game and in the overtime they dropped back into that 2-3 zone. Was that a surprise to you, and how did that affect what you guys did offensively?
Oh, well, not really. But his tendencies, I'm speaking of Ron, his tendencies show that he don't play too much zone, but a lot of teams played us zone this year because we have a pretty significant advantage on the wing, and I thought sometimes you have to go take a look at it to kind of slow us down.
I felt like my thoughts up here, you've got no Tiaja Smith. You've got your leading scorer on the bench with 5 fouls. You've got no Maritza Will, who had done a fair job in the post. You didn't have a lot of scoring out there without the help of Shekinah Alexander, but really it seemed like when they went to that 2-3 zone, the one thing that it did allow was Olivia Davis to get to the backboard. Sometimes you have a tendency not to box out, and I'm looking at the stat line, Coach. She has 10 offensive rebounds tonight. How big was that?
She was huge. She really stepped up tonight, and that's one thing we've been conversating about her just kind of focusing in on the glass a little bit. She's kind of presses a little bit where she's trying to find her offense or try to find her offense for everybody else, and I'm saying, hey, you got to focus in on one thing. If you can do one thing great, we'll be a good team.
And after you had the lead, all you're looking for are rebounds and more time off the clock. How big was it on their end to lose Stevens? It looked like Davis really was able to do even more once Monica got in foul trouble and they really didn't seem to have an answer.
Yeah, exactly. Early in the game, I thought that if we kind of went to our post, Maritza Will and Olivia, if Monica was guarding them, I thought that we had a little slim advantage as far as if we can pull her up from the basket and then drive her. And that kind of went in our favor a little bit tonight. So,
And I guess I got to ask you, I've kind of gotten around to it a little bit. How big was Shekinah? Again, not just scoring, had 18 in the second half in overtime, but setting up scores and then really helping to make life miserable for Bowens late in that game.
She was huge. She's been really doing a good job. Early on, she was starting. And, I thought that, bringing Asia off the bench or Tiaja off the bench will help us. But, I kind of found something where, she comes off the bench and really give us a lift. What she did tonight was big time. And that's what happens here. Big time players playing big time games.
That's right. That's right. We talked about it pregame. I got to ask you, I know it's early, but what does this do confidence-wise for this team? You've got 4 freshmen, you've got 4 sophomores. You had lost 8 out of the last 9 against KCU. What might this be able to do in this rivalry to help this team come later in the year?
Well, here, I think that this proves that we can be a really, really good team. and that's a great team.
Yep.
And what we did tonight to show that, playing that early part of our schedule, playing the Shaws, the Wittenbergs, the John Carrolls, that kind of prepped us for these moments.
Absolutely.
And I think going in, going into KCU is going to be even tougher.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, they was up 20 on us here, and we battled back. It's going to be tough down there, but the one that really count if we possibly play them down there in the regionals. That's the one that really counts. That's the one that I can kind of sleep at night if we get that one and going into nationals.
Absolutely, and it's got to be you go into hostile territory for regionals. Got to help a little bit that you're going to have an opportunity to be down there in 3 weeks. Watching some NFL last week, and they were talking about that with the Saints. They had to go to Seattle in the playoffs, but they had been there 3 weeks earlier. That's going to help a young team a little bit, isn't it, to have some experience in Grayson?
Oh, for sure. Like I said, this win tonight, too. Like being down 20 to a great team and battling back and winning the game on our floor in overtime is big for us and big for our confidence. Hopefully we can capitalize on it. The thing is that we won the same game here last year.
That's right.
And so it means something, but it's going to be a 24 hours, and we got to get it out of our minds and get ready for Johnson.
And a decent Johnson team that continues to get better, led by Doug Carnes and a lot of young players, and should be another good one Friday night, I assume.
Yep.
Coach, appreciate it. Congratulations on a huge win, and we'll do it again in 3 days, and we'll head down to Grayson in 3 weeks. Congratulations.
All righty.
That's the head coach of the Trailblazers, Matt Futch, here on the Christian Healthcare Ministries post-game show. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we shift gears and get you ready for the men. OCU outscores KCU 49-33 in the second half. They win the overtime 9-6, and they win the game 93-90. The HER Realtors pregame show is coming up next here on the OCU Sports Network.
Hands can do incredible things. Now they can even help save a life with hands-only CPR. If you see an adult suddenly collapse, just call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. Learn more at handsonlycpr.org.
When it comes to choosing a school, parents who want the best education for their students look for academic excellence, skilled teachers, a safe school that encourages their values. Students want a school with competitive athletics, unique opportunities, and friendships that last a lifetime. Fairfield Christian Academy, the place where parents and students agree. Enrolling now at fairfieldchristianacademy.com.